Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten, the show where 5 DMs take on D&D's top Gothic horror campaign. As always, I'm Dragna Carta, your host and DM, and we are very glad to be back with you all. Just a quick announcement before we get started. I do not believe we will be streaming next Saturday due to scheduling issues with the cast, but we will be back the following week, most likely. So hopefully we'll have some good stuff out this episode. I'm sure everyone's feeling excited. We've got the big event, right?
What do you mean, big event? We're going to go shopping? It's a shopping episode?
Finally. I believe we are putting to death to a fox with high quantities of angry monkey.
Zio's been so nice to us, though.
I know, but it has to be done if we want to beat this adventure.
Right, well,
the stream is going to be much worse quality from now on. We're sorry.
Oh, well, I guess you can't have everything. In any case, I think I'm looking forward to seeing how much of a defense our good friend Zio can put up. I think he won't go down without a fight. So with that in mind, let's dive right in and get started with Curse of Strahd, Twice Bitten. And welcome back. So, last we left off on Twice Bitten, these compatriots had made their way to the peaks of the Amber Temple in search, or the peaks of Mount Gakis in search of the Amber Temple, hoping there to find the secrets of Strahd's immortality, as well as, on behalf of their Dusk Elf companion Casimir, the key to resurrecting his sister Patrina from the ancient dead. As they camped outside, Amity dreamt of an array of amber sarcophagi containing monstrous entities and a mysterious silhouette approaching them. After entering into the temple, forewarned of entities that may lurk within, and dispatching flame skulls that had lingered as guardians, the companions explored further rooms and chambers in the temple, uncovering secrets that lay within its ancient, dusty halls. In the process, they encountered several strange entities imprisoned, it seemed, encased in sarcophagi of amber that offered gifts of a kind, which the characters declined, at least for now. After encountering and beheading Rahadin, Strahd's chamberlain and right-hand man, the companions advised their traveling compatriots to wait for them outside of the temple while they removed themselves, including for the fact that Lillison had been slain in battle by the mysterious guardian spellcaster of the Amber Temple. After driving away several flame skulls that had been lingering in a vault connected to a shaft that returned to the first floor, our unlikely heroes clambered up to the main floor of the temple and within there holed themselves up, both to raise Lillison from the dead at Amity's capable hands, reaching across the boundaries, the border of the twilight between life and death, and therein resting and preparing themselves for the trials and challenges that lay beyond. After discussing the tactics that they would need to approach the horrors that lay deeper in the temple, especially the Guardian, whose defeat would likely be necessary for their successful escape, the companions traveled northward into a dark corridor and there swiftly dispatched a damaged amber golem that had been lurking there as a sentry for that hall. Now, with the golem dispatched, the companions find themselves standing once more in the dark hall, faintly illuminated by the shining of the sun sword, and pausing as they consider their next move. And so, we return to the darkness of the Ember Temple. As the golem cracks and crumbles at the final blow and falls to the ground, several pieces severing off, limbs splayed across the ground, its head splintering down the center, and two pieces shattering off into either side, one rolling and slamming hard against the wall, the amber shattering into dozens of smaller pieces. The dust rises from the ancient corridor floor, and in the ancient dusty air, for a moment there is only the echo of the crash of its form and the sound of your own labored breathing. What will you all do?
Ow. Sorry,
Oh shit, Matrion, are you okay?
Yeah, no, he just cracked me in the back of the skull.
Oh yeah, that's gonna leave a mark in the morning.
And he rubs the back of his head and pulls his hand out and sees a little bit of blood on his fingertips, and notices that some of his white hair, has got some tints of red to it.
Ugh. Not a great look on you.
How's everyone else doing?
I think you're the only one that got nicked, thank God. Kiva and Ez took care of things pretty handily.
Yeah, right. Thank God I got hit. And Metron glares and starts to walk.
We've had someone die today. It is better than the alternative.
The person who died today is slumped against the corner where she is still trying to stay as far away from everybody else as possible, which is very difficult considering there are 3 people within 10 feet of her.
Yes.
Kiva, sort of looks around, assessing the scene, and then goes over to Lilith. And she said she's sort of like slumped down.
Yeah. Yeah, she's kind of supporting herself, like, against the walls.
So, while Kiva makes her way over to Lilith, what's everyone else doing?
Amity also has a question for Lilith, but Kiva can go first.
No, I think you can go ahead.
Okay. So, the plan's for me to stand right up on the balcony next to the big guy. Lilith, Amity sort of turns over to her. I wanted to know, what did it feel like? I mean, being a ghost.
What?
I mean, maybe you don't remember because it was only like an hour.
It wasn't being a ghost or being anything or anywhere. Just floating in a sea of darkness and not being.
It wasn't painful, or it was just floating.
Pain is a very pain is a very fleshy thing, the way that most people speak of it. It's not that when you don't have flesh to feel the pain. I suppose it was more of an ache, a lack of something, just a hollowness. The best I can describe it is not being and not having.
All right. Well, I'm sorry for bringing up that, but I'm ready to go ahead.
Lillison nods, looking at Amity with a rather troubled expression, which is not out of place because she's been looking rather troubled for the last hour or so, or however long she's actually been up on her feet.
Aerith is already dusting himself off and getting up to leave. All right, folks. One room at a time. Y'all ready?
No.
Okay, are you ready enough to go forward even though your head really hurts?
I mean, the honest answer is not particularly, but we ain't really got a choice, do we?
Fair. Sorry, that was kind of a cruel thing to ask. Let's move.
As they're walking away, Kiva's just gonna squeeze Metrion's shoulder and lay on hands him and give him 10 hit points.
Oh.
As you do, you notice Esmeralda looking out through one of the arrow slits and down at the temple floor. Interesting. I can't quite catch a glimpse of the front of the statue from here, but if things get to a certain point, we might be able to use these. Might prove advantageous.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, that's very good cover, very good line of sight. Those of us who have enough range to be able to hit the thing. Good thinking, Ez.
She flashes you a grin and nods. Thank you. I guess in the meantime, it might not hurt if any of us are planning on fighting from range to stay clear of the fray, yes?
Yeah, but I think we need to clear our way to the balcony first. If we run into another statue, I don't want to split up.
Very fair. Then let's keep an eye out, yes?
Yep, as Berthrendir will peek through the next set of doors into the next room.
Before we go ahead, Amity will spirit save a roll and also cure wounds herself a little.
Hey, nice.
Very nice. So, Erthrendir, with Kiva and Esmeralda following behind, you peer into the next chamber and see here what Kiva had already observed an hour or so prior, which is just a simple stone chamber with half of the eastern wall collapsed in, the walls sheathed in amber, and a pair of open doors looking out onto another area to the left side.
All right. Once the group's caught up, he will step very, very slowly forward and peek out the next set of doors.
Okay. Where is everyone else during this time? Are they following along?
If they're not, he's not going
Yes.
until they are.
Yeah, I guess we are. Yeah.
Casimir will bring up the rear then.
All right. And yeah, he will try and stealthily, if he can, look out the next set of doors.
All right. Give me a stealth check, please.
Yes, sir.
Before you do that, the sun sword is on, so I don't know if that, should she turn it off first, or...
If the sun sword's on, then whatever's out here has already seen us through the arrow slit, so in that case, he's not really paying attention to that. It's up to you.
Alright, she's gonna leave it then.
Alright, good shit. And that's a 7 on stealth, so it was a moot point anyway.
That'll make sense.
All right. Peering through, you slip for a second and kind of off of a pebble that goes skittering forward a few inches. You can silently curse yourself as a free action if you'd like, but
Always.
it seems pretty likely that someone's heard that.
Okay. Still, what does he see?
Okay. Peering at, you see another balcony, and this black marble balcony, 30 feet above the floor, overhangs the northeast corner of the temple. The two amber doors leading from this balcony stand open. To the west of the northern doors, a narrow slit looks out over the darkened temple below. You can just barely see the dark cloud surrounding the head of the statue as it faces forward, 90 degrees away from you.
Does the balcony have a railing, or is it sheer?
It is incredibly OSHA non-compliant. There is no railing.
Bastards. He'll step back a bit to be with the others. Alright, this is it. Balcony's pretty wide if we want to use it as a staging area, but I'm not sure if it'll take the weight of two of whatever those beasts are. Actually, there's a question. Does it look stable enough to take the weight of, say, two of whatever those beasts are?
Looking over it, it seems, at first glance, to be far less damaged than the western balcony was. You can make a investigation check to try to ascertain its stability if you'd like.
Knowledge architecture. 16.
Seems pretty as relatively stable as one would expect an old stone balcony to be. There are no obvious cracks or splinter points or places where pieces have cracked and fallen to the floor.
Alright, I think this can take your weight if we want to use this as a jumping off point. What's the plan, gang?
And you just see Metro looking very hesitantly up towards you all from the corridor, and looks over to Lillison. So, what should I expect?
Expect?
I mean, if we're doing this thing that we was talking about, I mean, you seem pretty excited about it by the end of it. Maybe excitement's not the right word.
A soft smile spreads over Lillison's lips, and her expression sort of relaxes, and the tension drains from it for the first time in a little while. And she stares off into the distance and she says, "Unbelievably alive and powerful, and I don't want to use the word indestructible, but that is the feeling. And if you pick up the mind of a being whose footsteps can shake the earth and whose fists can collapse mountains, then that changes you a bit. Or at least it did to me, it seems."
Right. Metron doesn't look at all helped by this. In fact, he looks even more confused. And he'll just walk up with the others, walking a bit away from Lillison.
Okay, so tactical thoughts. We should probably send the two animals first to draw this thing out of its statue. We're not going to be doing much good outside of that unless we can meaningfully contribute to cracking the front. Once they've got that sucker open and this wizard out in the open, then I think we'll have a better place in the fray. Anyone have any magic or capabilities that could help in cracking that sucker, or is it going to be just sheer force?
I thought it was going to be sheer force, yeah?
I mean, Amity, would you be willing to cast Shatter?
You mean... I don't think I could shatter the whole statue. It's made of stone, right? Is it thick?
It was fairly sturdy, but I mean, if you placed it such that whoever is punching that thing's head open does not get caught in the blasts, then I think Shatter might at least help somewhat with the effort.
Go ahead.
I could, but it would be 6 seconds without Count and Sharma.
Ah, yes, that is a point.
Up to you, whichever one you think is better.
Here's a thought. Lilson, when you were feeling at that thing, it felt like the eye holes were pretty small, right? Like not some a person could fit through.
They felt, what was it, Dragon, you said 2 feet across?
Yeah, they're something tiny could fit through, and maybe like a halfling or something could squeeze through, but they're not very large.
They felt, just slightly too small for somebody to actually fit through, but not by much.
Interesting. So, even presuming that whoever is getting into this thing could use magic, that rules out just flying in through there. And the Sphere of Magical Darkness blocks line of sight, so you can't just pull a cheeky teleport either. So that means there's got to be a way inside this thing, does there not?
Unless whoever this wizard is like those ghosts from, just able to go through walls.
A point. I suppose we really cannot rule out the existence of ghost spellcasters at this stage in our life. Still, I might see if I can find some way to get inside it. If we could flank it from 2 sides, that might be a better incentive to startle this thing out of its niche.
If you think that would be wise, because the other alternative is, well, it could be that you don't flank it and rather end up trapped in its lair.
Well, let it come in that case. But thank you. In that case, any other tactical stuff we're going to discuss, or are we ready to get rolling?
Esmeralda raises a hand. Just a quick question. I presume that, as mentioned, Casimir and Amity will be maintaining their focus on the polymorph spells that I mentioned, yes? As a forms of magic. In that case, she looks at Kiva. Would you like to help me stand guard by the doors? Keep an eye on, make sure that nothing can come through and hurt them? I imagine that we'll want to keep cover while the beasts run in and begin to work.
Kiva nods and sort of gets ready and ready to take frame. Let's fucking go.
All right, Esmeralda will stand by the northern door and get ready to block anything that comes through, just kind of looking around the corner and holding her weapons at the ready. Casimir nods and looks toward Amity. Right then. Whenever y'all are ready.
Aerith has a thought. Oh, wait, one moment. And he steps forward very briefly and pulls Amity into a deep kiss and gives her bardic inspiration. There. That way we can, be sure. Oh, take care, darling.
Thank you. Amity kisses him back. I give you inspiration back, but I only have one, and...
No, you're
you
fine.
want it?
Save it.
Okay.
You can do much cooler stuff through your spirit tales any day.
Well... Alright, Lillison, is it you who, wants it? I know you're excited, but I don't know if you can stand it.
Her eyes just light up with this feverish light, and she nods rapidly several times.
Casimir
All right.
nods. Right, in that case, shall I be recasting on Lillison and Amity targets another, or how are we arranging this?
That seems sensible to me.
All right, then who's Amity's selection?
I
I imagine
think
that...
Metreon wanted.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's what I wanted, right? Yeah, this is what I wanted. And you see just a race of processing and emotions going through his eyes. He's kind of darting around the room. Yes, this is what I'm going to do, right? Okay. He starts to kind of slap his chest in preparation, and as he walks up to Amity.
It will be all right, Metreon. It will feel beautiful.
He looks back at Lillison and lets his gaze kind of hang in her eyes for a moment, and nods and turns back to Amity. All right, don't tell me no Toad by surprise, all right? Just give me the good stuff.
At this, Casimir turns toward Kiva. Right. Is there any way to boost the light from that thing? And he nods toward the sun sword. I can't imagine our friends will be able to see all too well in the dark in there.
Kiva will, I guess, brighten the sun sword to the max.
All right. It bursts forward with a nova of light covering 60 feet all around you and 30 feet of dim light.
Metreon takes in a deep breath as he's hit with this wonderful surge of vitamin D, and nods and smiles a bit over at Kiva.
Kiva just smiles back and is ready to fucking fight and see her friends tear shit up.
All right. In that case, Casimir and I believe Amity are casting the spells together. Amity, is that the case?
Yes, this is the case.
All right. In that case, Casimir extrudes his fingers forward. The swirls of green magic flowing through the air and encircling Lillison like a cocoon. And Amity casts her polymorph as well. And you're going with the one we discussed, right?
That's correct.
All right. In that case, the group of you watch as Amity begins to murmur a story, closing her eyes, swaying ever so slightly, as if summoning the spirits that you've seen in her seances. Metreon, as you watch, slowly a silvery specter begins to rise from the ground just to the left of your foot. A moment later, another spirit begins to rise from the other side, and as all of you watch, shimmers, sparks of silvery white, misty light begin to rise from the ground all around you, drifting upwards into the air until you see dozens, if not more, of specters rising up from the rocky earth, filling the chamber around you. Slowly, they begin to hum a strange, dissonant whisper that echoes through the air. Eyes closed, they begin to whirl, swirling around Metreon, ensnaring him. And as you watch Metreon, you feel yourself beginning to lift off of the ground, brought upwards by a strange ethereal levitation. As the song of the spirits mounts to a fevered pitch, they glow a brilliant white light and flare outwards. At the very center of their form, you see floating there Metreon's body, but his eyes are glowing a bright but strangely dark, ethereal purple. All around him, the shapes of the spirits all around you, the ghosts, their bodies themselves formed into a massive shape, a silhouette of silver mist. You see a massive reptilian head, giant, jagged teeth, glimmering with silver gold light. Behind it, a long, scaled neck, almost, running down into a pair of wings that have been ripped and torn ragged until they are clearly flightless, but flare outward on either side, filling the entirety of the chamber. Behind it, a long tail winding and lashing impatiently all the way toward the back of the room. And as you twitch your body in this enormous spiritual mass, Metreon, you watch as one of the forelimbs of this massive beast twitches, claws digging deep into the stone and gouging through the rock. And Lillison in the corner, you see her form growing, expanding, the green magic bursting free to reveal the familiar Blood Bramble Beast. And I will place the tokens for the Blood Bramble Beast and the Shadow Drake onto the field.
Ooh. Yeah, I'd say as he's getting lifted off the ground, there's this moment where you all just hear him wincing and screaming. But as the shadows start to form and contort and create this shell of a much larger creature, you hear the scream kind of transform into this deep roar that echoes throughout.
I just realized that we're going to have to squeeze through that door, aren't we?
Yes, but you should be able to do it at half speed.
Yeah, as Lillison's form contorts and cracks and bursts out into the familiar shape of this beast, she also sort of leans back and opens her mouth wide as if she's going to roar, and then just doesn't, and rears up higher and higher on her legs instead, and then comes back down with surprisingly soft path of her front paws onto the ground, and looks at Casimir and stretches her head forward and kind of like nudges him as gently as possible.
He gives you a nod and a small smile. All right then, if y'all don't mind leading the way.
Yeah, at the sound of that, Metreon starts to use his claws to get himself up off the ground, and is going to just barrel through the doors as quickly as he can.
Aerith, throws himself backward as Metreon comes rushing through.
Bramblebee's coming through.
Beep, beep.
All right, the two of you squeeze yourselves lumbering forward onto the massive stone balcony. Before you, in the light cast by Kiva's Sunsword, you can just faintly see the temple floor below, but not seeming quite so far away as before. And before you, the great stone statue towering above the space below. Its dark, shadow and shrouded head peering down coldly upon the rest of the expanse of this chamber. What would you like to do?
I want to destroy that statue. I want to destroy it until it's dust.
I mean, same. As soon as there is a clear path to do so, Bramble Beastison would like to jump up onto the head of the statue, but waiting to see what Metreon does first.
Yeah, and if we're not going by initiative, Metreon's gonna, or I guess Metreonzilla, we'll say, Metrozilla, is gonna go ahead and just jump down. From this distance, can he jump onto the statue?
Yes, he can. And as you move to jump, if you'd like, I would like to have everyone roll initiative.
Let's do it.
Woohoo! Enjoy that 25-foot long jump, Jack.
That's going to be so good.
That's a 22 on initiative.
17.
Beautiful.
$21.
I should be using this initiative, shouldn't I?
Don't worry about it.
That is a 22 for me.
All right, and Kiva. All right, I think we've got everyone. So with that, Erthrindir, as you watch Lillison and the creature that is Metreon make their way to the end of the balcony, and Metron begins to leap onto the statue. What would you like to do, Earthrendir?
Okay. Somewhat taken aback by just the ferocity they're showing, Earthrendir is going to let the magic of the Blade Song surround him, and then just sort of sidle past the beasts with the same air as someone trying to push through in a busy supermarket, which I'm aware takes double movement, so from here. And then, how far down is it to the ground from this balcony?
From here, it's around 30 feet.
Okay, can he snag the grappling hook on the ledge and start climbing down?
Go for it.
Excellent. So, would putting the grappling hook there be my object interaction?
I would say yes, that would be your object interaction for the round.
Excellent. And climbing's half speed, so I have 45 feet of movement, 30 feet down to the ground. He'll get low enough that he won't take falling damage and then just drop onto the floor. And then...
All right, and down you go then.
Sidle. Yep, and sidle briefly under the balcony for cover. And that's his turn.
Very good. Next up is Gorillison. What are you doing?
All right. Gorillison would like to jump onto the head of the statue if she can.
All right, go for it. I would say that Metron is already onto one side of it with that jump starting combat, so if you'd like to move yourself to be on the other side. King Kong and Godzilla hanging from the same tree.
Yes.
I don't have... Does that look good? The sort of magical darkness is messing with my...
yes, that looks fine. Mm-hmm.
All right, and I would like to get a good grip on wherever it is that I'm standing on this statue and start shoving my fists into the eye holes that I felt last time.
You mean a gorilla
All
grip?
Right.
Yes, that thing.
Very good. All right, begin shoving your... as I recall, you weren't able to fit your whole fist through, but you did crunch and splinter quite a bit. You can resume your punching if you'd like.
I am resuming my punching.
All right, give me an attack roll.
First attack roll is 23.
That will hit. Roll some damage.
21 damage.
21 damage. As your fist comes crashing through it, you feel the last bit of resistance give way, and you feel the hollow shell of the statue's front face just shatter into smithereens. From the other side, suddenly you hear what sounds like the rustling of robes.
Okay, but I can't see anything still?
It is completely dark.
Okay, I am going to...
But you can hear what seems to be some kind of creature on the inside.
Yeah, I'm going to use my other fist attack and just punch in, hoping to hit something, because I have a very large fist.
All right, very good. Make an attack roll with disadvantage.
That is an 11 with disadvantage.
An 11 with disadvantage. You hear the sound of something moving swiftly inside of the shattered interior of the hollow statue's head, and your fist smashes against the far side of the wall. Evidently, this thing is hollow and filled and has a stone on the other side. Metron, you actually see, as you're clinging onto it, your claws scratching into the stonework of the other side. Part of the backside of the statue kind of bulge outward and crack with splinters as Lillison's fist impacts into it.
Fabulous.
Okay, and seeing that... Is like the top of this statue head just completely off now?
It's not off, you've punched through the... Yeah, like imagine if there was a mask, you've punched through the mask.
Okay, interesting. Guys, I'm wondering whether I should drop down right now so I'm no longer within its line of sight. What do you guys think?
I'd say it's either going to be you or Metron, so follow your heart.
Alright, I'll stay where I am. That is my turn.
Alright, very good. That is the end of your turn. Next up, we got Amity. What's going on?
Hell yeah, Amity's rushing onto this balcony, cheering on these two kaijus, and then begins to hum this loud and haunting tune as a counter charm for her action. So so he has absolutely no way out of this situation. Pass turn.
All right, very good. Esmeralda is up, and she will ready in action to attack anything that comes through these doors. Actually, you know what? She's going to scooch up and move just beside Amity, ready to defend her. She kind of meets Kiva's eyes and gives a nod to Casimir and shoots you a thumbs up. It is now Metrion's turn.
Yeah, Metrion, does he hear the squirming inside?
Yes, he absolutely does.
Yeah, he wants the creamy nougat that's inside this Cadbury egg. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and first with a bite. And just for flavor, I'll say that some of these teeth are plated in gold.
Love it. All right, let's see an attack roll.
Shit, that's going to be a 12.
12. Unfortunately, your jaws scrape the backside of the stone of this chamber, and you actually feel as the jets of misty breath extrude from your massive frame and muzzle what feels like a kind of void, an absence, perhaps a corridor or some kind of descending ramp space at the back of it, and you feel that tickle of air that signifies that something has withdrawn from your attack, but as you pull your muzzle back out, you're not quite able to connect.
Okay. So here's the thing. So my multi-attack, I can't apparently make both attacks against the same target. Now, if I was just trying to bite the whatever was inside, could I use my tail on the statue itself to try and dislodge some more pieces so to make whatever's inside exposed?
I would say from your current position, well, actually, given that you probably would have to move a bit forward to bite at the inside. Let me just take a quick look at the stat block here.
I mean, it is bludgeoning damage. I don't know if that counts. But...
Yep. Yeah, I think you would be able to attack with the tail the backside of the head. Cool. Lillison hasn't quite done too much damage to it, but you can begin the demolishing process.
25.
25 will hit. Roll some damage.
It's going to be 13 points of bludgeoning.
All right, 13 points. Your tail smashes against the backside of the statue's head, and you feel it begin to crack and crumble somewhat. You've certainly begun to weaken it.
Great. That's my turn.
All right, very good. That ends Metrion's turn. Next up, let's see. We are looking at... All right, I think Kiva's sticking back around, guarding for Casimir. So, as your turn ends, Metrion.
Yes.
You... let's see what's going on. All right, very good. So, with that, the two of you watch as suddenly bursting forth from the eye holes of the statue. Yeah, that seems fine. A moment in which you don't immediately see anything on the interior. And then a rush of sudden air from the interior as you feel something abruptly moving past both of your forms into the air. If you'd like, the both of you can make an opportunity attack.
Oh,
as you
hell
feel
yeah.
something moving past you.
It's 27 to hit.
That is a 21 to
hits.
hit.
The 21 almost hits, but as you watch, suddenly whirling around the space, you see a shimmering shield of lightning and flame deflecting your blow as it scorches your knuckles, blowing your hand back. So that will be shielded and deflected, but I would like Petron to roll some damage, please, for that bite.
Yeah, so I lunge up and bite at the shadow and tear into it for 42 points of piercing damage.
42
Jesus
points.
H.
All right.
Christmas.
You tear across it with your teeth, digging deep into whatever you find there. And there feels a strange sort of resistance, almost as the meat is much tougher than you've expected. There's this almost foulness and ichor to the blood that you find yourself tearing away. Amity, you can see this black liquid dripping down some of Metrion's jagged teeth. And let me check something quickly.
If he's a medium and stronger creature, he's grappled.
Oh, is he now?
Yes!
All
He's
right.
restrained, too.
All right, let me check something then.
Also, concentration check.
Yep.
We're like kids on Christmas morning.
That is going to be a 20, so that's a successful concentration check. But nonetheless, Metron, you catch something invisible, wriggling, stained with black blood in the middle of your teeth, in your jaws.
Fabulous. I'm gonna wiggle my head around like a dog with a chew toy in its mouth.
All right, as you do, you suddenly feel the space in your jaws abruptly go slack as whatever's in your mouth vanishes.
Okay.
All right.
About that concentration check, Metron did 42 damage, so the DC was 21 on the concentration check, correct?
Resistance.
That is true. But yes, let me check something actually.
Resistance.
Ye.
Actually, no. Fails by 1. So I will describe to you what you see upon its emergence before it immediately vanishes. You see, in the midst of the grasp of your teeth, what seems to be a slender humanoid figure. But actually, one second. I'm noticing something. Gotcha. Actually, no. It did 42 half to 21, right? And so the DC is half to 11, actually.
Correct.
Alas.
So you actually do not see anything in your jaws, and it vanishes before you get a glimpse.
The thing we don't see vanishes before we get a glimpse.
Exactly. All right, very good. In that case, you have no idea what just happened, and you have no idea where it went. With that in mind, it is Casimir's turn, who will holler out from behind the door. How's it looking out there? What's going on?
Seems to be all right so far. Just stay back here and make sure you don't let anything happen to you.
Right, will do. And with that, I believe that'll be all for his turn. He does not have over much that he can do right now. So he will quickly dart off to the opposite side and ready a firebolt for anything that he can see. Alright, with that, it is Erthrendir back at the top of the round.
Okay. So he's going to move out from underneath the balcony. Could he see briefly what happened there from his position?
I would say most of it was blocked. He could hear the
Damn.
commotion, but he wasn't able to get a good look.
Okay. So he'll step out from under the balcony to get a better line of sight. And realizing that, damn it, I heard something. What happened to it? Realizing that the two people who could answer cannot answer because they are large animals.
You hear some roaring.
Yes, lots of roaring.
Yeah. All right. He is going to ready an action for if to step out. He's going to step out here, and if he hears or sees this creature do anything, like cast a spell or anything like that, while it's within range of Dissonant Whispers, he's going to cast it.
Alright, very good. Readying Dissonant Whispers.
Yep, and that's his turn.
Alright. With that, it is Gorilla Sen again. You're up.
No, it's not.
Babe, it's fine. You can
No,
go.
it is.
It's really okay.
We're gonna keep going.
We completely skipped Kiva last turn.
It's okay.
That's
It's
fair,
okay.
Kiva.
Let's
We're
just
gonna-
keep going. No. Let's keep going. I'll just take my turn in the next round.
Alright, Lillison, you're up.
The There is absolutely no indication where this thing is or went, right?
That is correct. You notice that Metron seemed to catch something in his jaws, and it just vanished. His jaws slamming shut with obvious tension.
Okay. In which case... Alright. I'm going to ready an action to throw a rock at whatever... Like, if I see, like, the bead of a fireball forming or anything like that, or, you know, any hostile actions or anything like that, I will throw the rock right where it is going to be coming from.
Gotcha. I will say that you can get a rock from the smashed interior of the statue's face, but if you want to get another one, you'll probably have to get it from the crumbled balcony to your left or the collapsed ceiling from the eastern chamber. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
All right, very good. Readying an action to lob a rock then. With that, it is Amity's turn.
Okay. I should have done this earlier. Amity drops Counter Charm for 1 turn to cast Speak with Animals so that she can relay information back and forth to these magnificent beasts.
Oh my god.
Is that a concentration spell?
No, it's not. I would
Wow.
check that. So yeah, now basically if the party has info for these beasts, or if they have info for the party, Amity will be happy to relay it back and forth.
All right, so out of curiosity, before moving on, what does Amity hear Metron and Lillison currently saying, if anything at all?
Can Metron and I understand each other?
I would say no. You are not fluent in each other's languages, whatever that may be.
Well...
You just... Oh, go on.
Lillison is going to be saying something to the effect of, if that thing shows its head, I swear I'm going to...
And you just hear Metrazilla repeating over and over, meat, meat.
All right, sorry for the interruption. Thank you all for that lovely mental image. Amity, what are you doing for the rest of your turn?
Just going up to the corner of the balcony and like scouting all around, seeing if she can see this thing. Maybe it's deep in the statue. Amity doesn't really know what's going on. It's Esmeralda's turn now.
Okay, very good. Esmeralda will make her way toward you, and she will... Let me see if she has a spell slots for this. I think she does. She will tap you on the shoulder and say, Raidzin, I think you can make better use of this than I can, given the situation. And she will cast Greater Invisibility on you.
Cool.
As each of you watch as Amity vanishes from sight, but I presume continues... Well, the counter charm is not currently active, because you used your action, so you'll have to restart that next turn. But yes, Esmeralda will then give a nod and look back around for any indication of anything that might come swooping toward you. And that will be the end of her turn as she readies an action, an attack. Metron, what are you doing?
So, hungry for meat and excited by the taste of blood, I'm going to go ahead and try and snap in the direction of whatever I was chewing on before. So I guess that'll be a disadvantage, or...
There's nothing there anymore. As far as you can tell, there's nothing near to your jaws.
Okay. Shit. He's not smart right now. So he's going to... Would I be able to use my multi-attack on the statue itself, even though it's the same target? Or could I, like, hit different parts of the statue and call it 2 different targets?
I would say you could hit different parts of the statue.
Alright. So I'm going to bite into the head some more.
Alright, go for it.
26.
26. Give me some damage.
It's going to be 27 points of piercing damage.
Alright, 27 points. You smash the back of the head, your jaws just burrowing through it and splintering it out. If you've ever seen In the Land Before Time, where the T-Rex kind of shoves its entire face through this like small tunnel, it has that exact vibe, just chomping and snorting and doing its best to search for any sort of meat on the other side, but there's nothing there. What are you attacking with your tail?
Yes. Ooh, 27 again.
All right, and what are you hitting with this?
I'm just trying to hit maybe like the torso, just try and cave it in a bit.
I think that's fine. Seems a bit more doty, but you can go for it.
Okay, it's going to be 18 points of bludgeoning.
All right, 18 points. Your tail smashes across the back of it, and you see something beginning to splinter just at the back. It seems there might be some hollow space somewhere down as well.
All right. That's my turn.
All right, with that, Kiva, you are up.
All right. So, seeing that there is no immediate sort of danger to Casimir, she is just going to. When you ready an action, can you also ready a bonus action, or is it just one or the other?
No, just one thing.
Okay. All right. So she's just going to ready an action for if anyone comes, within melee distance of her or Casimir to start swinging away. But other than that, she's good.
All right, very good. In that case, that is the end of your turn. And so... All right. There is a brief moment of pause. And then, Metreon and Lillison, you hear the sound of mumbled words and hear the sound of a slight tearing on a deep, resonant level that then immediately vanishes.
Tearing level? Like, what do you mean?
Almost as though someone had taken a piece of fabric and then split it, but on a deeper level, almost as though
somebody were casting a teleport spell to get away.
On a meta level, perhaps, yes.
Am I allowed to throw a rock at this?
You cannot. You hear it from the other side of the arrow slit.
Is it within 60 feet of me?
It is within 60 feet of you, but as far as I know, let me just think something real quick here.
Dissonant Whispers is a creature that can hear you.
That is true. What was the exact trigger?
That is why I cast it. If I saw a sign of this fucker casting a spell at my friend,
I would say you're not close enough to hear this.
Fair enough.
All right, but yes, if you'd like to throw a rock at that arrow slit, well, listen, you are welcome to do so.
I will do so.
All right, roll to hit.
22 to hit.
That will certainly hit.
For 42 damage.
42 damage. All right, very nice. It slams into the arrow slit, and you, Metron, you actually watch as it dents and crashes through, utterly demolishing that section of the wall and laying it entirely bare. But looking through, there's nothing on the other side. All right, with that, it is now Casimir's turn, and he will continue readying his firebolt. After shouting out again, "Right, what's going on out there? I keep hearing things on the other side. Are you still in melee with it?"
It seems like they are. Don't let your guard down, though.
Right, sounds good. And he will ready a firebolt. Erthrindir, you are up.
Okay. So Erthrindir is having horrible, horrible flashbacks to what his teachers back at magic school described as scry and fry tactics. As he shouts up, "Alright, if this thing's invisible, then it's gonna keep that advantage. Probably just gonna pick us off from the sides. If we can." And then, remembering the language issue, he switches... Fuck, what language switches to... he doesn't know this. He switches to Infernal. If we can, we need to pin this thing down somewhere that we can all lay into it without it squirming away. Can break the concentration on that invisibility if it's got it.
Question: does anyone here speak Infernal? I believe the only two
Half the
of you are
part.
currently polymorphed.
Surely Amity must.
Yeah,
speak
Amity
this.
would.
Oh no, sorry,
yeah.
Amity is not polymorphed. Yes, Amity
Tieflings.
understands. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot that Amity was not polymorphed.
relays this information in beast language. Is that how Speak with Animals works, or would she have to talk in like?
I would say that they can understand it in. Let me look at the exact text of the spell. I'm just make a preliminary ruling that you are speaking in whatever language you choose, and they just understand you.
Yeah, Amity can just repeat exactly what Aerthrendir said to the syllable, but somehow they understand her.
All right, very good.
Okay, and in that case, there's no sign of hide nor hair of this thing, right?
You use your action this turn, right?
No.
All right, you can make a perception check to look around.
Yes, please. Look and listen. 11.
No sign. Just looking around, you see this vast, dark, empty space all around you. The temple fading away. You can't even see the other ends. The corners just faded away into shadows. You can just very faintly see glimmering in the light of the sun sword the massive smashed head of the statue and the spaces where Lillison and Mitron have begun demolishing the rest of it. But of whatever this thing is, there's no sign of anything other than your friends.
Alright. He's gonna use this opening to run across the floor, Blightsong lending him speed, and squeeze in next to the statue. And that's his turn.
All right, very good. With that, let me just check something real quick. Looking up, actually, Aerthrendir, you
Yeah?
see floating in the darkness, just toward the southeastern side of the temple, all the way up in the balcony, a faint, fuzzy, dark humanoid shape hovering in the air, just in the corner.
Alright, he's gonna relay this. Southeast, up on the balcony. Again, in Infernal.
All right, very good.
And that's his turn.
All right, with that, it is Lillison's turn. What are you doing?
Lillison is going to drop down to the ground.
Alrighty.
Let's see. Yeah, it looks like at her full run speed she can get about there-ish.
Okay.
Trundle, 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 trundle.
Very good.
Is there anything that she can see casually around here?
I would say there's nothing you can see. You do not have dark vision.
Okay. Hazards of being not an elf.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, since she would have had to use her action to get here, no way to prepare an action or anything like that. What is the radius on Amity's countercharm when Amity resumes countercharming?
If Amity resumes countercharming, and that's a big if, the radius is 30 feet.
Okay. Gorillison might have just done a tactically unwise thing, but here she
is a
is,
gorilla.
and here we are. It is next person's turn.
All right, Amity, you're up.
Yeah, Amity doesn't know where this guy is. So she just like, I think he's trying to get away. Should we just try to leave the temple? And she is going
Well,
to...
Aerith just told her he was on the southeast balcony.
Yeah, oh, that's him on the southeast balcony. Okay, Amity's gonna make her way there, which I think involves going around the hallway. So just dashing back through these doors and back through this hallway. And that is what she will do. Not having an advanced grapple hook. But she is extremely invisible right now, so nobody...
Well, the grappling hook's still snagged if she wants to just climb down to the ground.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. DM, may I sort of unmove this.
I'll allow
into
it.
the grappling
Are you going to
hook?
clamble down to the lower level?
I was thinking more of like slinking down to the lower level.
I will allow slinking.
Okay, great. How much movement to get down?
It's climbing. It's 30 feet, so I would say it's 60 feet. Or you could go 30 feet and then take the final 10 of damage.
I'll just go all the way down so that I don't take any classic damage. And so I think I end my turn like basically at the bottom, depending on where it was set up along the balcony.
The edge here at the bottom.
Great.
All right, Amity, you're able to scramble down to the bottom.
But that's dashing, so
Yeah.
she's just sort of set her sights to the south. And I think that makes it Esmeralda's turn.
Yes, indeed. It is Esmeralda's turn. With that, she is going to give a nod to Kiva and ask, right then, do you think we should follow or stay here to God's rear?
Well, maybe we put Casimir between us. I can stay up here. Maybe you can jump down or vice versa. You seem to have a lot more magical capabilities, though, so maybe you should stay with Kaz and I can follow Amity.
She nods. Right, no problem. I'll stay here and watch his back. You take care, all right?
You too.
All right, she will make her way over to the doorway by Casimir, ready her weapons as Levelson goes barreling off into the darkness, shoot you a nod, and ready yourself for whatever might come. Metron, it is now your turn.
Just acting on this instinct, this instinctual hatred of whatever the statue is or symbolizes. I'm gonna use my tact to continue to try and demolish it.
All right, go for it.
It's a 14 on the bite.
14 unfortunately does not hit. You kind of try to cut through the stone, smashing your face against it, but it's a little too resilient.
And then a 29 on the tail.
29 on the tail. The tail lashes forward. I'm guess. Are you kind of like shimmying down and going for one of the limbs?
So what's happening? Yeah. Well, actually, I'm just kind of like shimmying down, and after I bite, and then kind of like whapping it the torso with my tail as I'm.
It has to be a different target for the tail.
Oh, I mean that's what I hit last time was the torso and the head.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I understand now. Got it. So the head continues to be there, just a little bit. This kind of weird shell of stone. But if you'd like to attack with a torso with your tail, you can roll for it.
Yeah, that's 29 with 18 points of bludgeoning.
Beautiful. You smash right through the backside, opening a great gouging hole right inside, almost like the popping of a shell. And just glancing down, you can see that there seems to be some sort of interior hollow staircase descending down the back torso of this massive stone statue.
Ooh. All right. And then what did I hear Amity say about something? About like where he is?
Aerthrindir said he was on the southeast balcony.
Oh, I wouldn't have understood that.
Sorry, Amity repeated that to you.
Oh, so okay, so you, all right, gotcha. Then yes, I'm going to use the remainder of my movement to climb down and chase after Gorillason.
All right. I would say it'll take you around 15 feet of movement to get down far enough where you can drop without taking any damage on your fall. And then from here, are you going to move the rest of whatever your movement is?
Yeah, so it's 50 minus 15 is what, 35?
Yep. All right. That as the Shadow Drake plummets to the ground and goes lumbering hungrily across the floor toward its new target. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah.
All right, Kiva, you're up.
All right, so I'm to assume that when Amity jumped down, there was like a height difference that Kiva would also have to scale. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a grappling hook snagged. There's a grappling hook snagged on the edge that she can climb down if she needs to.
Oh, amazing. Okay, yeah. So, I guess she'll do that to take the grappling hook down and not throw herself off and jump, which is what I was going to have her do.
Gotcha.
So that's 30 feet down, and then she's going to use the last 10 feet of her movement to go there. And I think... yeah, let's action dash and get up close to Lil, and then, yeah, that's going to be her turn.
All right, and now in the light of the Sunsword, Gorillison can in fact see this creature that was floating in the shadows to the south. In the dim light, you can just faintly make out its features. This strange, slender humanoid figure with strangely vulpine features, like a jackal of sorts. You can see that it has these two brown ears pointing back and yellowish eyes glaring down toward you. You can see that it wears a purplish cloak over its back and a gray-white robe covered with many strange patches in different colors as it looks down upon you. There's a faint pink crystalline glint from its eyes as it looks down toward you, reflected from the Sunsword's light. You can't make out any too fine details.
How far away is it from me?
It is around, I think, 35 feet, but it's notably also floating 25 feet off the ground.
Alright, cool. I'll wait for my turn to do anything about that.
Alright, very good. With that, Kiva has gone, which means that it is your new friend's turn. As it will, let's see, look toward you and immediately fly through the air in a direction somewhat opposite yours. Let me just check something real quick. Very good. And let's see. Excellent. You see this creature... raise a hand and then glance toward the western wall. And then southwestern for a moment. And then it blinks, vanishing out of existence.
That does not bode well.
Alright. That is the end of its turn. Next up is Casimir, who has nothing to shoot at, and will move a little across the doorway to the opposite side. It is now Earthendir's turn again.
Okay, so what he saw was distinctly a teleport, right?
Yes.
All right.
Although,
Damn it,
actually, I
he's
would
got a
say
lot.
it was outside of Earthendir's line of sight. I believe. Let me just double check.
Even if the sunlight
Oh
illuminated?
no, with a sunsword, yes, it would have been illuminated. Yep, you would have seen
Okay.
a distinct teleport.
Then a great question. Does Earthendir know what this is?
Make an Arcana check.
Yes, sir. 22.
22. You recognize this as being an Arcanoloth, a type of not demon, not devil, but a fiend of sorts, a Yugoloth that dwells in the plains beyond the Nine Hells or the Abyss. You're not certain about its capabilities per se, but you do know that they are often retained as guardians of knowledge and powerful magics, and enjoy dealing in such as well.
Okay, so no
And that
idea
they
about
are
the cap-
extraordinarily powerful mages.
All right, this thing's a fiend, like a demon or a devil or something. It's don't know much about it, but they've got magic beyond anything we've dealt with before. Be very, very careful. And then with the indent of this information, realizing that they're fighting essentially an archmage, he's going to dart up the stairs past Kiva and head up a floor onto this balcony proper.
All right.
And once he does, any sign of the Arcanoloth, or still just fuck all?
Looking around, you have an action left?
I do.
Okay, make a perception check for me.
Thank you, bonus to movement speed. 10.
10. You actually do see a faint flicker of movement in the entry corridor. But several feet, by which I mean more than 20 feet above the ground.
In the entry corridor. It's flying, though. And having fulfilled his role as mobile spotter, that is his turn.
Alright, it is Gorillison. What you doing?
Gorillison will synthesize all this information. And start heading up.
Trundle, trundle, trundle.
Trundle,
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 trundle, trundle. So I actually can't see what's on this map because the darkness isn't auto clearing. Is there a way that I can get like within view of
1 second. Mm-hmm.
within view of the entry corridor from where I was?
Yes. This is where, as best you recall, the entry corridor being. It is completely dark, but somewhere around 10 feet above the top of your head, you can hear the sound of what sounds like that cloak rustling in the wind again.
All right. Gorillison's going to pick up a rock and chuck it.
There are no rocks in this immediate vicinity, but if you'd like, I'll allow you to rip off a piece of balcony and throw that.
I will rip off a piece of balcony and chuck it.
All right. For the sake of thoroughness, give me a strength check. I do not expect you to fail this.
12.
I would say that you try to rip up a piece of balcony, and not knowing your own strength, it crunches and crumbles in your own hands and falls to pieces. It is not usable as a rock this turn.
Okay, that is... Alright.
If you'd like to throw an Earthrendir, you're welcome to it.
I would not like to throw Earthrendir.
Fastball special.
Oh, it's iconic.
Yeah, no,
Fastball special.
The fact that, in my stat block, it just gives me the opportunity to attack with quote-unquote my rock, makes me think that I should be able to just execute this thing that I have.
Unfortunately, you do not carry around a hammer space of rocks. It assumes that they are available. There are plenty of places where you can find some and carry some along with you, I would say. But since you have not taken any alongside you, you do not currently have an inventory full of rocks.
Okay, I would like to spend my action crunching up more pieces of this balcony so that I can have ammunition for my ranged attack.
All right, that is fine. Give me another strength check. Depending on how you roll, I'll give you a number of different pieces of ammunition.
14.
14. You get one piece of ammunition for use as a rock.
All right, you heard this, guys. We are moving into the sort of campaign where we track ammunition.
Oh no!
That's the end of my turn.
I've been tracking ammunition.
Look, show me where you have pockets, and I'll give you unlimited ammunition. Otherwise,
I'll
all right,
show you
very
where
good.
my pockets are.
We are not dealing with marsupials here. Amity, you're up.
Amity's just dashing towards the staircase, relaying Earthrendir's information about, this guy's really powerful, or whatever, but he's running away from us, so should we chase him down? I mean, it seems like we could just leave for free if he's running away. But yeah, she's just dashing up the stairs, and that's her turn.
All right, very good. Next up is Esmeralda. And she will move adjacent to Casimir and begin checking out the way up in front of them, readying an action to attack anything that stops them. Metron, you're up.
Did Amity say this in a tongue that Metriazilla can understand?
Always.
So you would hear a reply in a roar. Everyone else would just hear a roar. No, meat. And come barreling up 50 feet. So I get up close to Earthendir. Now, if I'm barreling, I know that Amity's medium-sized and I'm not. Would I be able to get past her, or would I just, stomp on her?
You're
you can
larger, right?
Yeah, you can get past Amity. You can go through her square.
All right, so marching the 50 feet, just barely missing as my feet fall over Amity's head, rushing up beside Earthendir. Scheisse. There's not much I can really do, though. I will hold my action in case this creature gets within range, and we'll attack it with a bite.
All right, very good. That is the end of your go. Kiva, you're up.
All right, so I am going to
as this
move
massive
up.
dragon from Despairs stomps over your head, and Amity's hammering up the stairs, lumbering forward into the darkness. What are you doing?
Kiva is taking that opportunity to move up, let's say, sort of kitty corner. Gonna sneak through here and move in front of the giant Drake that is her best friend, and the giant beastie that is her other best friend. And I guess ready in action again if it comes within melee range.
All right, very good. That is the end of your turn. And next up, Gorillison, you hear something and then see something illuminated by the light of Kiva's sunsword whirling through the air above you. This strange, jackal-faced fiend hovering through the air above you as it tries to get out of your reach, but you're just realizing you have some long arms. Would you like to make an opportunity attack?
I would love to make an opportunity attack.
All right, go for it.
23 to hit.
23 to hit. That will hit. Roll some damage.
15 damage.
All right, halve to 8 as you realize that this thing seems a little more resistant than you would have otherwise expected. Then floats up into the air, a full 30 feet overhead and out of your reach, and continues moving across the balcony and looking down toward Earthendir and Kiva. Cold eyes looking down toward you, raises its hand, lightning crackling and dancing around the tips of slender clawed fingers, and then it sends pointing down toward the air, right toward Earthendir. I will need Earthendir to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
Yes, sir. 17. Oh, wait, that was acrobatics. Hold on.
All good.
24.
24, that succeeds. You take half damage, which is 20 points of lightning damage.
Absorb elements.
And as you watch,
reducing that to
blasting
10.
forth from your chest, you watch as 3 other bursts of lightning flare out toward you, hitting Kiva, Amity, and Metreon. I will need the 3 of you to make dexterity saving throws, please.
That's a 12.
That's an 8.
That is a 10. Should I have Bardic Inspiration? Probably not.
Save it for the concentration check.
All
Good
right,
point.
in that case, the 3 of you each take 39 points of lightning damage, and I will need a concentration check from Amity. And is Earthendir currently concentrating on anything?
No.
All right, very good.
I don't. Is this even a concentration check I can make?
Just
hold
do it.
on.
DC is
Yeah, DC's
19.
Okay, I'm not going to say Bardic Inspiration
Oh,
to add
shit.
to this one.
Oh, wait a minute. Does this count as an effect I can see because of my danger sense? Should get advantage on that.
You would get advantage, yes. So you can have advantage on it.
Is a 15 help?
It does not. The DC was 17. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
But good thought. Good thought. That was good. That was helpful. So close. Unfortunately, Amity, what was your concentration check?
It was a 1.
Okay, with that you watch as the polymorph spell around Metreon rustles, flickering for a moment, and then the spirits with a wail fall apart, splintering as their cohesion is lost by the force of your broken concentration, and in their place, dropping down to the ground, is Metreon. Alright. And so, with that, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, very good. With that, it is now Casimir's turn. As he will chance a quick peek out of this door. And what the hell? He's going to fire a lightning bolt at it. So he can't cast lightning bolt because he doesn't know it, but he can cast fireball.
Thank you.
All right, you watch as it goes soaring through the air, exploding all around this jackal-faced fiend as it will make a dexterity saving throw. With advantage, it's a 21 succeeding. Casimir rolling 30 damage, half to 15, and then halved again to 8, as this thing seems preternaturally resistant to flames. Alright, Casimir will then duck back into hiding and rejoin Esmeralda. That is the end of his go. Erthrindir, you're up.
Okay. Wincing and scorched, his magic having shielded him from and his dexterity having shielded him from the brunt of the chain lightning, but not enough. He looks at the others, looks down at Metreon, and just yells, Everything you can do to mess with it, pour it on now. Don't care about damage, just get it to the ground. And he is going to run across the balcony.
Oh, and sorry, one thing I neglected to mention, Erthrindir would have noticed that the chain lightning leapt out to Amity while she was invisible.
Shit! Amity, it knows you're there. Might be able to see through invisibility or something. And going 40 feet, he's going to clamber up onto the balcony railing. And, hoping against hope, cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter.
Alright, as the spell sweeps up through the air, it will raise a dismissive hand, sweeping the magic aside as it casts Counterspell.
You know what? It's free to it. That's used its reaction. In that case, that's his turn.
Alright, very good. It is the giant ape's turn.
How high up is it floating now?
30 feet above the balcony and 10 feet away from the balcony's edge.
Okay, which is how far up from the ground below?
It is 60 feet off the ground.
Okay. What's the rules for vertical jumping again?
Funny you should ask.
Well, your strength score is 23.
Let me just... high jump, you leap into the air, a number of feet equal to 3 plus your strength modifier. What's your strength mod?
My strength modifier is 6.
Alright, so you can leap 9 feet into the ground, and I would round that to 10. Which means that you could reach anything that is 20 feet above you, but unfortunately it's 30 feet.
Okay, well... What if it's not a standing jump?
I would say that if
but
you
a
would like,
running jump?
I would allow you... That's with a running jump. I would say that I would allow you to make an athletics check to try to jump even higher, but the DC is going to be relatively high.
You have a rock you can throw at it.
I do have a rock I can throw at it, but I only have one rock.
True. It's an important treasure.
I'll tell you up
You
front,
can throw
if you'd like to
Kiva
make
at
the
it
decision,
next.
If you want to jump an additional 5 feet, that would be DC 20. Additional 10 feet would be DC 25. Your athletics modifier is +9. It's up to you if you'd like to chance it.
Okay, so is there a world in which I can roll an athletics check to try to jump at it, and then depending on the result, I can either punch it if I get in range, or if I don't get in range, I land below and still have my action?
Yes, I will allow that. But you would take
Let's do it.
damage from the fall, but not very much, obviously.
Yeah, let's do it. Gonna do a run and jump. Here's my athletics check.
All right, let's see if you can make this dunk.
Are
my
you
God.
That's a natural
serious?
1 for 10.
Oh, you leap forward, and unfortunately, just as you do, the bit of balcony that you punch through skids just beneath your foot, and you go stumbling off to the ground, managing to land in position. All limbs crouched below. You will take, I will say, since you are a huge creature, I'm just going to roll 1d6. You take 3 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
And you're easily able to pivot that off into a 3-point shot if you'd like. It's not quite a dunk, but
I will take the 3-point shot.
very good. And that could have been awesome. I don't blame you for going for it.
Oh my god, that's not a
Oh,
natural
no.
one.
Why?
Oh, I'm so sorry. The rock goes soaring straight through the air, the Arcanoloth dodging it abruptly in the air as though creating its own inertia. The rock goes soaring up past it and embeds itself in the ceiling and refuses to come back down.
Okay, I don't know where I land, but presumably I land somewhere.
Yes, I will
and,
put you right over here, I think.
roaring with rage, the beast says in basically a voice that only Amity can understand, "Give me more rocks!"
All right. Very good, and that,
my
I
turn.
believe... Excellent. All right, at the end of your turn, Amity, you are back up. Metron is looking kind of stunned on his bum at the top of the stairs, and Kiva and Erthander at the top, with Gorillison all the way at the bottom. What are you doing?
Oh god. Are we in this to win it, or are we just trying to get out alive? Anyone
I
who
think
wants
if
to
we need the
respond?
opening to get out, we've got it. But I think if we're going to do this, we got to kill this thing.
How heavy does a rock have to be for the giant ape to use it as a rock? Because Amity has like a small rock.
I would say
Like-
it has to be a boulder-sized. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So this isn't something Amity could tear out of the railing herself.
Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Why not? She's strong enough.
Yeah, she's
My
she's
athletics is
stronger than
higher
all of us.
than the.
My stat block does not say
giant
how big
apes.
the rock has to be.
Yeah. But honestly, I have no ideas for anything productive Amity can do if it's not giving the ape a rock. So Amity's just going to go up here and just not be in AoE range. Just sort of duck behind this door that we honestly started the entire plan in, just to take a small breath.
All right, are you
Good
opening the
plan.
door, or are you just kind of standing beside it?
Oh, this door's currently closed? Okay.
It is currently closed.
Yeah, I'm opening this one. That's like a item interaction. And just ending the turn here, I'll come out next turn, but just give me a turn. I have no HP.
All right, very good. Glancing at the corridor, as Esmeralda begins her turn, you see her beginning to make her way down the corridor guardedly. She catches sight of you and gives you an abrupt nod and glances back toward Casimir. As you watch, she seems to be following behind her. Metreon, you're up. Actually, no, let me see something. Esmeralda, if she gets over here, she has line of sight. She's going to fire off a lightning bolt at it.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Woo!
Actually, can she, looking from this perspective... I would say that she just barely has it. It's in my Foundry calculation, so that's good enough for me, trigonometry or not.
Amber Temple, home of triangles.
Yep, so she's going to fire off a lightning bolt. Blasting it through the air, a sizzling streak of black plasma. Let's see if this thing makes its dex save. That is an 18, which succeeds, taking half damage. 33, halved to 17, halved again to 9. Love it when third level spells do cantrip damage. All right, Esmeralda nods and then kind of drops down low out of sight. She's going to go prone for the moment. All right, Metron, you're up.
Okay, so on my bum, am I technically prone, or is it just flavor?
No, you just dropped on your butt, but you can easily scramble back up to your feet.
Right. So scramble up back to my feet, and feeling that sudden loss of power, and that rage that I had still lingering though, I go up and I look up at this creature and I start to scream at it. But as I do, it's this intense, almost like Black Canary style scream, as I'm going to cast Mind Spike at him.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
First time we've seen this spell?
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how it does. DC Wisdom. All right. Unfortunately, that is a 16.
All right. Well, he still takes some damage.
All right. The group of you watch as from Metron's outstretched hand, there's suddenly this almost halo of boring, twisting energy, shimmering of many colors all around the Arcanoloth's head. It clutches it briefly, stumbling back a few feet in the air, managing to shake it off, but you can watch as small bits of black ichor beginning to leak out of the sides of its eyelids and ears.
So that's 18 points of psychic damage.
Okay, 18 points, halved to 9, right?
Yes.
All right,
Level
very good.
third level spells do cantrip damage.
Beautiful. All right, that is the end of your turn.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not.
So, seeing Amity run past me into the corridor, I'm going to follow suit, knowing now that I'm squishy. And I'm going to go ahead and move and then bonus action hide.
All right.
And that's my turn. And it's an 18 on the
All
stealth.
right. Excellent. Kiva, you're up.
All right, riddle me this, Batman.
I will say that this thing's actually looking reasonably wounded now.
Ooh.
If Kiva were to say, like, run and jump onto a giant bramble beast's shoulders, would she be close to, like, hit a fox thing?
Unfortunately not. The Bramble Beast is on the floor of the temple, 30 feet below, and the Arcanoloth is 30 feet above your head. So there's like a 45 gap between it and
the Bramble Beast yeet Kiva into the Arcanoloth?
I could.
I would allow a roll for it.
Let's do some yeeting.
Yes.
Although, I don't think I would be able to yeet until my turn, and until then, like, it gets to go, so it could easily AoE us.
You know what?
Yeah.
This is such a cool idea that I kind of want to take the chance.
All right.
Reasonable. Have a nice day.
You know what? When or else are we going to do this? So Kiva will look to Erthrindir and just say, maybe you can explain this plan to her, because I can't speak her language. And then we'll just run and jump into Gorillason's waiting arms.
Okay, you will risk taking some damage. I'll allow an athletics check from Lillison to kind of, cushion your blow and reduce the amount of damage you take, if you would like to.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Also, I think that
All right.
I understand Common. I just can't speak anything unless I'm speaking with somebody who's
Actually,
casting
you know what?
passive
Fuck it.
memories.
I'm going to bonus action rage first,
Okay,
and then
okay.
do this. Yeah.
What's the wild
So that
surge?
way,
What's the wild
what's
surge?
the wild surge? Let's find out, friends.
Delicious.
Ooh, okay. I feel like it's been a while since I've had this one. Oh, nice. So any creature of my choice that can see within 30 feet of, that I can see within 30 feet of me must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take necrotic damage, and I get temporary hit points. Love this for me.
Love that for you.
And the flavor of this, which is my favorite, is the Percy DeRollo black mist coming out of her eyes and mouth and nose. and surrounding her
Fantastic.
and making her stronger.
Con save, you said?
Yes.
All right, making it with advantage. That is very low. That is a 5, folks.
Oh my god, I love this for me.
What's the damage?
It's 11 points of damage.
Jiggity damn.
My
You watch
ass.
as the mist begins funneling around this thing's form, its eyes going wide as bits of its exposed fur begin to sizzle and wither away, falling to gray and then white and then dropping forth as bits of its hide actually begin to decay right in front of you. It is a horrific sight.
Oh my god, amazing. And so yeah, she's raging after all that happens, then she's gonna yeet herself at Lillison.
All right, that is a 20 athletics to kind of catch her and soften her blow, her landing.
All right, you successfully catch her and Iron Giant her, putting her on your shoulder.
Oh, I'm so ready for this. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I want to see the art for this.
She is going to ready her action to make her 2 attacks at the Arcanoloth with her sun sword the second she is thrown within range.
All right, is that the end of your
just
turn?
get the one.
I don't get my 2 attacks?
Not from a readied action.
Correct.
What the fuck? Okay, that's fine.
You could try to grapple onto it, though. But
Okay,
you do know
I'll
it
do
can
that
teleport, so it's up to you if you want to.
Yeah. Nah, for
Well,
right
not
now, we'll just
immediately,
ready the
later,
action.
later.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, it is its turn. You watch as, looking around with eyes wide, it raises its clawed hands, and you watch as, once again, Lillison, you recognize this strange tearing sound as the fabric of reality splits, forming a strange opening in the air just behind it, and it moves to dart through. Vanishing from sight.
All right, somebody better find this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to be yeeting Kiva somewhere.
DM,
Yes.
what happens next?
Next up, it is Casimir's turn. Casimir will continue forward, passing Esmeralda and meeting Amity. Right. This is a lot of action out there. Is everything going? I feel the spell is still holding.
Amity's invisible. Maybe he's saying this to Metreon, or just...
Metreon, yes, he cannot see Amity. Very fair.
I don't know. I just feel the thing is dangerous. It's bad. It's shooting lightning and shit. I'm staying in here.
I'm here too. You can't see this right now, but I'm bleeding bad. I want to make a dash for it, maybe.
I'm feeling wiped.
All right. That is the end of Casimir's turn. Earthrendir, you're up. What are you doing?
Okay, so he didn't see any sign of where he, I presume, Dimension Door 2, right?
I would say not.
And he can't make out the end of the hall through the darkness and his dark vision and the light.
Yeah, the far side of the temple is obscured in the darkness. You can't even see the statue from this point.
Okay, so that leaves options. If he's not directly behind him, then he presumes he's not out of the temple. He's presumably not to the right, because that's where, his friends are. So that leaves either up front or to the left in those arrow slits. Neither of which are cheering options. For his money, he'd wager the more likely scenario is that the fucker's back in the statue. So he's going to move further, move a little more, and then dash to see what he can see.
All right. Dashing forward, you look around. There's no sight of it.
Damn it! It's hiding. In that case, regrettably, that's his turn.
All right, it is Gorillason's turn. Your dunk 3-point target has vanished. Kiva is crouching on your shoulder. What are you doing?
All right. Seeing where Erthrindir went and hearing Erthrindir's invective, Lillison is going to scout about this other way. And with Kiva on her shoulder, she can actually see now. So let's start going this way.
Yay!
Anything to see here?
Nothing that you can see. You can just see the darkness of the temple. You can just faintly see the fingertips of the statue and the pillars on either side of it, but there's no sign of anything beyond.
All right, gonna take the rest of my movement. What about over here?
No sign.
Okay. The Blood Bramble Lillison makes a soft questioning noise at Kiva.
Kiva, does she get the sense that if she's yeeted at the statue that she'll be able to take some hits at Neferon?
I mean, if you get yeeted at the statue, if something is there, you can certainly try to attack it. You might take some damage upon the landing. But
I mean,
you were certainly welcome
valid.
to be yeeted.
Valid. I mean, listen. Maybe this is meta, so I shouldn't ask this, but do we think that he's back in the statue, logically, or is he
It's
just,
up to you.
Logically, there's two reasonable places he could be. Either in the leftmost hallway or back in the statue.
I don't think
You
he
know
could have
what?
gotten back to the statue from where he was. It's too far away.
Not if it's Dimension Door.
Yeah, Dimension Door.
Isn't Dimension Door 300?
Yeah,
Like 300
400.
feet.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Alright, fuck it. Yeet her at the statue. Let's go.
Okay, how does Kiva express this?
She's just gonna give Gorillison a absolutely feral look and just mime throwing something over at the statue.
Okay.
Real power. I love this.
God.
Bramble Lillison is going to very, very gently close her little, very large bramble fingers around Kiva, rear up on her hind legs, and send her sailing through the air. Do I have to roll anything for this?
I will ask you to make an attack roll, as if you were throwing a rock. Just
Come
see how
on!
quickly you can do it.
That is a natural 20 with Kiva rock for 29 hit.
You underhand her as gently as if you were a grown-up pitching for their kids' first softball game, and just gently, with as little verticality as you can manage, push her through the air, and with air resistance as minimal as possible because of that damn crit. I would say that, Kiva, you land there in a Black Widow level tumble and come up looking like an absolute
God.
badass.
I'm literally this is the best day of my fucking life.
Can we roll damage on that statue, though?
The statue's head has been demolished. There's the ears sticking up on either side, but there's nothing on front or back.
There's 30 more feet of statue.
No, you were going for the head, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so Kiva lands perfectly in the middle of the darkness that is still there. You cannot see anything, but Kiva, you do hear below you, in the very distant space below, very slightly to the north, the sound of a single footstep echoing off of the back wall.
Would she be able to, from the statue, get down and attack whatever that thing is, or is she close enough to attack it right now with her ready action?
It is many feet below you, but you could drop down if you have the movement.
Yeah, I've got 40 feet of movement, so...
All right, would you like to hurl yourself off of the statue onto the ground?
I mean, it's not her turn.
Oh, no, it's not her turn. We can do that on your turn, though. It's coming up.
Yeah, okay, great, let's do it.
All right, Amity, you're up.
Amity ducks out of the alcove. I'm going to say just in time to see Kiva midair, soaring towards the statue, and just shake her head what? But then she doesn't see the fox dude here, so she's going to continue her plan to make a break from it. just running back towards the little entrance corridor. And in her turn there, like, panting and straggling. But keep an eye on the incredible display behind her.
All right, beautiful. That is the end of your go then. Esmeralda is up. She will continue making her way out to catch up with Casimir and dashing to move forward. Looking at Metreon. Right, Zen, what's the plan? We still in combat with this thing?
I don't know. I've been back here. I heard something.
Did Ez completely miss this? That's so funny.
She has completely... Well, she was probably watching a little bit through the arrow slits. She dropped prone, so she can't make it that far. She couldn't see the arrow slits. She looks very wide-eyed and slightly confused. She completely missed that beautiful moment.
Aww. But yeah, Metreon just looks back at her. I don't know. I hear some stomping and some yelling, and I think it's still going on.
Right. Okay. Good to know. And she readies her rapier and weapons again in case anything comes near. Metreon, you're up again.
Well, kiss Margaret.
Kareth will convey the rough situation if he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, I assume I would have heard Gorillison running back towards the
Yeah, you hear the sound of very heavy footfalls making their way north away from you.
All right, so I'm going to step out of the temple, step out of this room. I'm stepping out of the temple, goodbye.
All right.
All right, so that's... Earthendir. And I yell out, what's the plan? What are we doing? Leaving, right?
Nah. This thing's hurt, I know it is. And if we leave, it'll have time to recover. If you're hurt, you can stay back, but I think we can finish this.
Hearing that, he feels this kind of surge of both the anger that's still hanging in his system from being a giant T-Rex-like animal creature, and also his kind of defiance. And he's going to go ahead and huff and say fuck it and keep running. So he uses the rest of his movement and his bonus action to dash. And then yeah, I'll hold my action for an Eldritch Blast in case I see something.
All right, beautiful. Kiva, you're up, and on your turn, you focus, drawing inward, pushing the light of the sun sword out. You watch as all around you, it burns through the darkness, and looking down on the far side, just below the cowl of the statue, 30 feet below, you see the Arcanoloth pressed up against the back wall, looking around suspiciously, and then gaze darting up toward you.
All right, she's going to yeet herself down 30 feet and attack it twice with the sun sword.
All right, that's going to be 3d6 damage, and I believe you'll land prone, but you can yeet yourself back up.
Yeah.
All right, you take 9 points, I presume, halved 5 because of rage?
Okay, yep.
Or is that only weapon damage?
It's bludgeoning, slashing, or it's piercing damage, isn't it?
Barb is all damage. NPCs
Beautiful.
Get weapon damage.
All right, so you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage, and you yeet yourself down beside this very unhappy-looking Arcanoloth.
Amazing. I'm gonna Reckless and attack twice with the sun sword.
All right, go for it.
Fuck him up.
Destroy him.
23 to hit.
23 will hit. And that is too high for his shield to block, so we will not cast shield.
And he gets an extra D8, right?
He is not undead.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
fiend.
You can use a Divine Smite, and I believe that does more damage against fiends, correct?
I don't have a Divine Smite left, but I can... Yeah, it's okay. So he takes 7 points of radiant damage on the first one.
Okay, very good.
And then I'll let him take this second one to the face. How about a 24?
24 will also hit. Roll some damage.
Great. So that's 9 points of radiant damage, and I believe he has to do a con save, or else he's going to take some necrotic damage too.
Oh, that's spicy. That's on each of your turns, right?
Yup.
All right, rolling with advantage, that's a 20, so I believe that's a success.
Okay, it doesn't work this time. That's fine. That's fine. But Percy DeRollo Kiva just yeeted into him for like 16 points of damage. Radiant
Love
damage.
that for her. All right, that your turn?
All right. Yes, that is my turn. Thank you.
All right, it is his turn. Eyes still white, he brings his claws up around the air and pulls it down around him, wrapping himself in a shroud of space that curls and renders him invisible from your eyes. You can still
if he's within 10 feet of me, I can see him. So.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
So
I
you
love
actually
that
do
for
see
you.
him as he darts back through the air away from you, invisible. But you can see him. Would you like to make an opportunity attack?
I would. Indeed, I would. 16?
16 does not hit, I'm afraid.
Fuck me. Okay, that's fine.
Swiftly ducks out of the way, your blade just searing centimeters away from his left ear, and he vanishes from your blind sight as he pulls up and back away from you, up into the air, and vanishing from your sight.
Okay.
Alright, that is the end of his turn. Casimir is up. He will continue making his way around the corner, peering out the door, and then thinking better of it. Erthendir, you're up.
Kiva, what's the situation?
She is going to scream that he is over here, like sort of point out exactly where he went once he disappeared out of her blind sight. So that's, yeah, she'll just sort of point Erthendir in that direction.
Yeah, I would say you
Interesting.
kind of get the sense that he was floating up around toward the crumbled balcony used to be.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
He's
What
up
about
going
the
to the
rubble?
balcony.
Excellent. So Aerith is going to mentally measure some distances. Oh, splendid. And at the spot where Kiva pointed out, he is going to cast Shatter.
All right. Let's see. You're placing that down?
Yep, but I will need you to tell me where it needs to be.
I would say the most you know is that you saw Kiva kind of float. Kiva saw him floating slowly upward to the balcony. You don't know exactly where, so this is gonna have to be a bit of a leap of faith. If you'd like, I can move Kiva so you can. Well, you should be able to see the
I
balcony.
can,
So
yeah.
I will let you gamble.
Serena
on this.
was Nephron on your left or your right?
That's a good question. Was he on my left or
He
right?
was on the western side and floated left and south.
Left and south. Left and south!
All right. Is he in there?
Taking a look. Let me just take a quick look at this marker you put down. Circle 10 feet. Let me just check something real quick. Sorry.
I think if you
It's
move
alright.
that marker
Uh,
half a square to the left, it'll cover more area.
That's a point. I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, because you do have to put it on any point, I guess. So you're going to move it that way?
Okay, yeah, that's more what I would have done.
All right. Unbeknownst to Erthrendir, there is a saving throw being made right now, just barely, because of that little tweak.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And that is a
thanks,
failure. What's the damage?
Check. Damn it! Only 8 thunder.
8 thunder damage. That's still enough for a concentration check.
Come on.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Bomb that shit.
That is a 9, which fails. And you watch as he apparates into existence once again, the invisibility rushing away from him, hovering just to the south of the upper doors of where the balcony once lay.
Does my ready to action go off?
You can see him, and I think he is in range, so yes, it does go off.
It is. Yeah, so excitedly, just spotting him. I'm going to launch an Eldritch Blast.
All right, go for it.
Come on, Metreon.
16.
16 does not hit.
Yeah, he was too excited.
Unfortunately, just barely. You watch as it skitters through the air, and after being blown back and looking around frantically, eyes wide from the reverberations that are still ringing in its ears, you watch as the fiend looks toward you and frantically, almost nervously, brings its claws up, tearing forth a shimmer of energy in the air, dissipating the spell as it evades and blocks the attack.
I believe Jack gets a second blast.
Not on a ready action.
Yeah, it's a ready action.
Actually, no, it is. It's part of the spell. You get 2 beams.
It's part of the
Is
spell.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like
you
if you
get 2
cast
beams.
Scorching Ray, you'd still get all 3 shots.
Bless you, Twy. All right, let's see what the second one is.
It's going to be a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 will hit.
So it's going to be 4 plus 3, so 7 points of force damage.
7 points, you said?
Yes.
All right, this thing kind of flutters in the air for a moment. You see the black ichor dripping down its side, the cloak on its back looking torn. It's looking incredibly hurt.
Ooh, I like that.
Earthendeer, uncharacteristically, get his ass! And that's his turn.
I love that
Also
for him.
he's
It's
human.
Gorillison's turn.
Dragna, you cannot tell me there are no rocks here.
There are lots of... You have a rock smorgasbord. This is the goddamn,
Old Country Buffet of rocks.
brunch buffet of rocks. Take your pick.
I would like to take a very aesthetically pleasing rock, and I would like to yeet it.
There is a
at
rock
this
that is
thing's
very
head.
faintly... That looks very faintly like Ismark's face. Would you like that one?
Yes, I would.
It's all yours.
All right, that's
Roll
an
to hit.
18 to hit.
An 18, it hurtles through the air, smashing through it, and eyes going wide, the Arcanoloth looks down and juts out its other hand, the arcane shield of bursting lightning and curling flames flickering up as it uses its reaction to cast shield, blocking the rock.
Okay. Yeah, with, like... I'm just gonna sit here in the buffet of rocks, and that's what I'm gonna do.
Beautiful. I love that for her. All right, that is the end of your turn. Amity, you're up.
Amity can't do anything. She's gonna cure wounds herself and get a little bit closer, and that's all. Someone else go.
All right, Esmeralda is up. She will make her way up to Casimir, take a look through the door, and kind of get a sense of where this thing is. She hollers down to Metreon. Are we trying to take it out?
Yes!
Right. Alright, she's going to... Actually, I'm just realizing she cannot see because that pillar's in the way. She's going to move a little bit further. There we go. And let me see if Lightning Bolt actually has the range to hit it. It does, barely. So she's going to throw out her hand, summoning up the Black Lightning, and send it blasting through the room toward it. And... Alright. Let's see how this looks. That is success. Esmeralda dealing 32 damage down to 16 down to 8. You watch as it crackles through the air, slamming directly into this thing and blasting through its chest. Its face goes back, utter small jolts of black lightning and electricity tracing themselves across its form, arcs leaping from side to side, and with this faint smell of ozone and a sound of sizzling, plummets to the floor. Dead.
Kiva just
Wilson, it drops
lets out
down
a
to the ground.
super feral scream.
And as Kiva's victory screech echoes through the temple chamber, that is where we will take our break.
Hell yeah!
God
kids.
damn.
Wow.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I'm sorry.
God, that was a
Zito.
good fight.
Man, that was a good time.
He's so annoying.
He is!
Yeah, that's
why you
nothing
don't
compared to
run-
what you're going to see in the finale.
I know.
That's why you don't run optimal Strahd, kids.
Oh no,
Wait,
I'm
Lillison,
excited.
you can eat me at Strahd, though!
I
Oh,
could.
the plays. The
You
plays.
Or,
Oh my god!
Or she
or I
can
could.
turncoat us on us in the last
No.
minute, and you know.
I mean, I was going to say, or I could do my blink strategy and just get through the walls while he's trying to get through the walls.
Well, in any case, we'll see how that turns out as you deal with what it is that you've just uncovered. I think there might be some interesting things that you find in the space that you've just created. So, we will pick this back up after a quick 15-minute break. This week's Fireside Chat will feature Todd Kleinpaste, writer for D&D Adventure Creators' Endless Adventure Supply Company, sharing about the importance of blending mechanics with roleplay instead of just viewing them as separate entities, viewing them as something pulled together. So, we hope you enjoy, and we will be back very soon.
Welcome to Fireside Chat, a short interlude with weekly features, where I, your host Lucas, will be showcasing and interviewing prominent D&D creators. This week, we are talking to Todd Kleinpaste, a dungeon master and writer, about mixing mechanics and roleplay seamlessly. How can players use roleplay to broadcast new or upcoming mechanics?
The idea of, say, a wizard powering up, they're getting new third-level spells, and they're going for Fireball, for example, the classic wizard spell. And they spend a lot of time, they could just be something as simple as they go about, they're going off and doing homework by themselves. Or they could spend the time going around to shopkeepers trying to buy sulfur. They could go to caves and try to collect guano, things like that, the material components for the spell. And in doing so, that starts to broadcast like, hey, I'm trying to do a thing. I'm only level 4 now. I'm not level 5 yet, but I'm going out. I'm working something out. And then once they have those, they go and spend some time in their room alone and they're scribbling stuff. And maybe they can roleplay it so that as soon as somebody barges in on them, there's a little bit of fire that goes out of their hand because they don't want to burn the person or something like that. That's an easy example. Another one that is pretty easy to see as an example of broadcasting their coming abilities is like a Paladin's Oath. Now, that is a singular moment in time, and it is sort of the border between a level 2 Paladin and a level 3 Paladin. But they can start talking about how they are on their way to some temple to take their oath, or they are talking to the cleric about, hey, this needs to happen soon. Can we discuss about doing the ceremony or something like that? And really digging into the nature of their oaths and discussing it with other people.
How can players use flavor to give depth to the mechanical choices their characters make?
They can definitely do, let's say something simple like combat. It's a very straightforward, purely mechanical sort of operation within any TTRPG system. But let's, keeping with Dungeons & Dragons, because it's the most common, you have an assassin rogue. And they're in combat, they're entering combat, I should say, and they are going to get their surprise round, at which point they have an automatic critical, or any other critical during the combat. You could just say, okay, I throw my dagger and it buries in their back and I do X amount of damage after rolling a whole pile of D6 dice. Or they can say, I come up behind the person, bring my knife around and then up under their chin and then pull it across and then go on about the descriptions of the blood and the gore and whatnot that would occur from that. That is them communicating, hey, I just used this feature. Similar with a Vengeance Paladin coming down with the final smite against their chosen foe. it can be as something as simple as, and then I roll a pile of d8s and it does X amount of damage. Or they can say something more vibrant along the lines of, as I've come down with the final swing, I grab him, by his breastplate or something like that, and shout something roleplay related in their face, and bring it around with the radiant energy on my blade, and blah, 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 blah. That sort of thing adds a lot of flavor to their particular mechanical choices, to whether or not to smite, whether or not they get the sneak attack. And there's other ways too, like they can do simple things like maybe they come from a place that's very cold and so their wall of fire spell is tinted blue or something like that. All sorts of simple things, but it comes to how the character plays it out. And these are all purely flavor, but it adds to the story as they're doing their mechanical thing.
Where might there be in-game dissonance between roleplay and mechanics?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the easiest is, say the bard is giving a speech. He's trying to defend somebody in court, or he's trying to persuade the king to go and invade something like that. They can go in and the player gives this absolutely beautiful speech. And then even with, say, the dungeon master says, that was brilliant, take advantage on your roll, and they roll a 1 and a 2. Well, congratulations, you just wasted this whole thing that in real life probably would have worked. But because you rolled poorly, sorry, that's the way the dice fall.
How should players and dungeon masters approach this?
Perhaps the dungeon master says that the king is not completely persuaded, and gives an opportunity for continued social interaction. They start having a discussion back and forth or something like that. While the bard is talking, the other players are looking around and seeing that the person who's trying to dissuade from what the bard wants is doing something funky, or they have some piece of information that they can then interject into the conversation. And that would allow them to continue the story and sort of fail forward into where, you didn't manage to persuade the king on that first roll. But the story's not over, so we're going to continue the discussion and see what comes up later. And it's possible that the ranger says something completely stupid and botches it all, and the king becomes their enemy. Their heads are now, their faces are all over wanted posters all over the kingdom now. But it allows the story to continue to move forward by not simply stopping because the roll went bad.
What should be the dungeon master's responsibility when running such a blended approach to roleplay and mechanics?
Their first job is to be an example. That is really the dungeon master's entire job, is to be the example of what they want to see at their table. If you want to see really in-depth roleplay and funny voices and all that sort of thing, you don't start yelling at your players that they need to do really in-depth roleplay and start doing funny voices. You need to have an NPC approach, and they have, it's a small child who's lost after the dragon burned their village or whatever, and, get a bit of a weepy voice and bring your pitch up higher and plead and beg with the players, please, find my mother, or whatever the case may be. And, that goes for stupid things too. Have goofy characters, because once they see that you, who is at the head of the table, is going this far, you're going 5 steps ahead, they might be willing to take a half step. I do have a couple of players who are not really in-depth role players in my game. And I have seen that through my willingness to do stupid, crazy sorts of stuff, put out that sort of vulnerability for them to laugh at or cry with or what have you, they have been willing to step up their game just a little bit. They're not natural actors. They're just there to make bad decisions, roll some dice and see what happens. But they're willing to step forward a little bit more and actually see that come forward. Now, of course, mechanically speaking, the dungeon master should be doing those very same things. So, for example, say the warlock is about to get his pact boon. They're going for the Pact of the Tome. The player probably already has some sort of book because they were planning on going that direction, but getting that boon isn't really a character decision in most cases. It's a patron decision. And so it becomes the dungeon master's responsibility to have the patron in some fashion, either in person or through some sort of emissary, approach the character and tell them, hey, this is a thing now, and I have imbued this book with these powers, and you can go and do what have you. And so having the dungeon master lead in that sort of example definitely helps push the players to realize, oh yeah, these things come from somewhere. They're not spontaneously generated because I had a ding over my character in, EverQuest or World of Warcraft.
Where is the line between role-playing and game mechanics? Does that line actually exist?
I do think that that line actually does exist, and it's at the point where it can become a video game. Because video games, while they try to have role-playing games and that sort of thing, they have social interaction options and that sort of thing, it's impossible for them to actually account for all possible social interactions that could happen between two characters. Whereas a human is able to sit there and improv something completely off the cuff, say something surprising, say something better than what the writers of a video game wrote. And at the moment when you turn your role-playing game into something purely mechanical, you're just playing a video game without the video.
Where can people find you and your work?
I am on Twitter at Gameld, that's Gameld 1010, and then I am also on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Gameld.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Curse of Strahd Twice Bitten. Thank you all for waiting. Before we get started, as always, a few quick announcements. Thank you to everyone who's watching on Twitch, as well as all of our viewers on YouTube. We appreciate you all, love you all, as well as anyone who may be popping in from the podcast side of things as well. As always, thank you to our virtual tabletop sponsor for this campaign, Foundry VTT, bringing you excellent digital VTT platform support, as well as our additional sponsor, The Forge, which brings an integrated hosting service to host your Foundry virtual tabletop games, which in fact, this lovely campaign is being played on. So thank you to Foundry and The Forge. Twice, speaking of Twitch.
You know, normally I go for something clever with these, but it's episode 45, and I've just realized that those lovely folks that have stuck with us, whether you've been here since the beginning or just started last week, have watched like 180 hours of content to follow this story. That is insane. And so I guess today's Twitch peen is dedicated to you, because thank you so much for sticking with us all this time. And if you'd like to subscribe, please do, because it helps make the show be the best it can be. But if not, just know that we appreciate the fuck out of you every time. Serena?
That is something that I feel comfortable following, and I'm not going to be one up this time. If you like what you are watching, you can join the discussion on our very own subreddit, reddit.com/r/twicebittendnd, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/rcurseofstrahd, for all of our past sessions, fireside chats, video essays, and highlights from the stream.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, both Twy and Serena. I think that is all the announcements we have for today, so thank you for sticking around, and let's return to the Umber Temple. So, finding your way just below the northwestern balcony in its crumbled remains, Lillison, in the form of the blood bramble beast, crouching before it, Kiva having slid off to the side, the crumpled form of the Arcanoloth's beaten and bruised body lying unmoving atop the wreckage. It is dark and quiet and only faintly illuminated by the glistening of the radiance of the sun sword and the light that glints from Esmeralda's now illuminated headband. The temple is quiet, save for the footsteps of your own movements. What would you like to do?
So, if in the statue had like just pieces of a face, right?
You're looking up at the statue that with the darkness.
I'm looking more at like the rubble on the ground
Gotcha.
that came from it.
So there is in fact a small amount of what was once a face, yes. There's not any particularly fine details. It's just very smooth features. You can just faintly see what seems to be the upper eye hole moving onto the edge of a nose and the upper curl of a lip, but that's the biggest piece you can find.
Okay. Randy, you can go.
Aerith, slowly at first, but then quicker, approaches the prone form of the Arcanoloth, moving like someone not quite sure if this thing is actually dead. But once he's reasonably sure it is, he kneels down next to it and turns it over. Does it look... And gently closes its eyes. These things are bound to contracts, you know? Most devils and fiends and stuff are. They probably didn't have a choice in this.
Lillison turns just to look at him and just to stare at him, as if, expecting him to go on.
At your words, as you pull your hands away, you watch as there's a brief shudder from the corpse, almost as though it seems to be stirring and then its flesh begins to bubble, beginning to slough away into a grayish-black bursts and small spurts of ichor that begin to flow down its form as it melts, dissolving, leaving nothing more than the cloak, its golden spectacles with pink lenses where its face had once been, and a book-sized shape just beneath the cloak that it left behind.
I think it's safe. The body's gone.
Kiva's gonna take those fucking glasses.
All right, I will add the gold spectacles with pink crystal lenses to your inventory under loot.
She's gonna look so fire with Rahadin's cape and those glasses walking up to Castle Ravenloft.
Love it.
Aerith, for his part, is going to look at the cloak and fish underneath it to see what that presumably book-shaped hole was.
Picking up the robe, and you see the robe itself, again, is this strange grayish-white color with several strange patches across it. You peer under and you see what seems to be an old brown tome with bands of amber gold across the sides, with scrawling in, I believe, let me just check here, it would be probably this strange mishmash of abyssal, infernal, and some other language you can't quite identify across the front.
Dragna, is this a spell book?
You open to the first page, and the first thing you see is written in the runes of a wizard, the spell Detect Magic. This is a spell book.
Aerith stares down at it like someone who's just been handed a feast after scrounging for scraps for weeks, and then looks up and then kind of starts flipping through it faster and faster, like just pushing the body away so he can sit down and make out what he can.
I've added
Holy
Arcanoloth
shit.
Spellbook to the loot folder of your inventory on the sidebar.
This is the spellbook of an archmage, y'all. Like the kind of magic he was casting. This is stuff even folks like Casimir and Victor don't know.
Lillison sort of looms over him and rumbles low in her chest.
Can I help you?
She stares at the book and then stares at Erthrendir.
I will happily share once you are no longer a monkey.
Casimir stumbles forward. Right, sorry, do you want me to drop it now?
Very distinct head shake, no.
He closes his mouth shut, holds his hands up, and just acquiesces with a shrug.
Amity Metreon, I think you're safe.
When you say that, you notice that Metreon started to walk up to the remains of the statue, and he's just been staring at it this entire time, looking at the rubble, looking at the pieces of the whatever face was there, looking up at the empty hood, or what's left of it.
Metreon?
And knowing that no one in the party has any kind of bludgeoning object, you just hear him start to kick the rubble over and over and over and over and over again, and until he can't anymore. And as he does, he's just remembering when he first got to the temple, he felt that feeling of that recollection that he's only felt for two things in his life, for two people, and all the rage and memories of abuse and manipulation just start to flood through him. And finally, as he just sounds like he might almost break his foot, he stops and just falls to his knees sobbing.
And Erthrendir rushes over to him, kneeling down on the ground next to him. And at first he's acting like he does with Lillison, just kind of not sure about distance. But then there's alongside, and he puts his arms around him.
He doesn't fight, but this is even worse than like some of the crying he's done back at the winery. This feels
this is
cathartic and heavy and heaving.
Yep, he's letting him go. He's just making sure he's there.
Oh, no, he's not fighting you when you hug him. He's just kind of collapsed inward and it's just letting it all out.
Lillison stands up. Where is Kiva right now?
Kiva is just off to, I guess, the side of where the corpse fell, like a few feet away. Just sort of like watching and observing everything and, keeping a sort of worried glance over at Metreon. But other than that, she's not doing much.
Okay. And is Amity still invisible, or?
No, Amity blinked back to visibility just now.
Okay.
Yeah, the minute has ended.
Okay. Lillison's going to look around, make sure that everybody is present and still moving. And then she is going to walk over close to Metreon, pause by Metreon's side, and then go over to the statue, rear up, and start just punching the rest of the statue.
All right. If you'd like, if you punch toward its legs first, you can probably bring this thing to rubble in a few minutes.
I will proceed to do this.
All right. It is very loud and very messy, but you watch as Gorillison, or Bramblebeast Lillison, begins to slowly but surely reduce this statue to smithereens. King Kong style.
Yeah, Metreon is just looking up at her do it and calms down a bit as he watches her just sunder the entire thing. And when she's finished, he'll just kind of keep looking at the space where the statue was and occasionally back up at Gorillison. But it's just kind of at a loss for words right now.
Yeah, Lillison's going to be occupied for the next period of time in either demolishing this thing or picking through the rubble afterwards, trying to find the best rocks. So,
very fair. I would say it would take you a few minutes. Not too long, but a few minutes.
The prettiest rocks.
Is Muppet still there?
If you would like, you can go find him.
Yeah, I'd like.
All right, you head westward, passing through the wide corridor, and in the walls on either side, you see reflected in the mirror-like amber there your reflection, reflected over and over in a multitudes, waving at you, shouting at you, screaming silently to leave, to depart, to flee. But now there's something else in the back of your mind tugging at you, seeing Rahadin's beheaded corpse, seeing the Arcanoloth dead on the floor, and beginning to wonder if maybe these illusionary fears were never quite real in the first place. Passing through, you do find Muppet staring and facing the wall, right where you left him.
Muppet! Amity starts to, go to embrace him, but then, backs off and trips over herself, before she actually lands the hug. Right, zombie, just come back this way.
Muppet bobs its head pleasantly and begins slogging across the floor behind you. The rest of you see Amity return shortly with a half-rotted, burned corpse behind her.
Is Mark and Irina around?
There is no sign of them, but Amity, you do recall telling them to leave and return to Casimir's shelter. There's no sign of them on the lower floor, so if nothing else, you can reasonably assume that they've left that part of the temple.
Okay, Kiva's gonna maybe suggest to I guess Erthrindir and Metreon that we might want to regroup with the others and maybe rest a little bit.
There was a staircase down there underneath the statue.
Yeah. You want to check it out before we go?
I mean, if that thing was living in there, it's probably guarding something, maybe something powerful. And when he says that, he looks up at Casimir.
Casimir looks over to you. Do you think there might have been something more in there?
Well,
I don't think it was a staircase to nowhere.
well, if there is, it's now buried beneath a pile of rubble, because Lilson's been doing very efficient work.
Lil. Can you dig out a hole there? Get us into that staircase.
There's some amount of big paw shoveling and shifting around.
You push
To
aside.
be clear, is the staircase
rubble
still
that had been-
extant?
No, looking over it, you see a few bits of what seem to have been stairs at one point in their lifetime. I'd say by now she's kind of snapped off both of the arms and kind of brought it crashing down to the floor and is starting to pummel through some of the larger pieces. You see embedded in the lower robe and torso at the very center, drilling down a kind of staircase that has now been split into several pieces. But at the very base of it, there is just a sheer blank floor. It seems that this might have been a staircase that led to some other part or section of the statue, perhaps a door that led out of the statue or some sort of mechanism, but it appears that it didn't go further than the floor itself.
Okay.
Aerith will look at Metreon. Hey, want to get back outside? We can start a fire, get some food on.
Yeah, if everyone else is good to do that.
All right.
Casimir's eyes glimmer for a moment as he murmurs the words of a spell and looks around. I think one of you might be interested in that robe that thing left behind. It seems to have some sort of aura around it.
Aerith perks up. Excuse me, Mo. And we'll walk over to examine that weird but fashionable robe.
Very fashionable, or rather, it is possibly the most unfashionable thing you have seen in all of your time in Barovia.
Oh my god.
And you just saw the
go
robe,
into
which
detail.
it is... I've described the semblance of it. It's this off-white, grayish sort of robe. Very functional looking. It's not built for aesthetics. And it looks kind of a patchwork, as though it's been torn holes in several times over the years. It looks a bit ragged, though not entirely tattered. And it has 8 large patches across it in several places. There is a patch of a pouch with gold pieces spilling out the top of it. There's a picture of an iron door. There is another patch that depicts a wooden ladder leading to nowhere, a patch that depicts a riding horse, a patch that just depicts what seems to be a hole in the ground, some sort of pit, a patch that depicts a rowboat, a patch with just a small furled up scroll with a depiction of a moon behind it, as well as a patch that depicts a pair of black-furred canines.
Earthrendir picks this up almost reverently. Oh, it's beautiful. God, the patchwork and wait, does he know what this is?
Make an Arcana check.
As always.
Mm-hmm.
22.
This is a robe of useful items.
Oh
You have seen
my
one of these before, though it had
God.
different patches all the way back in your hometown.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, holy shit, guys. It's gonna be... These are, well, incredibly rare, really hard to produce. I mean, you know, it's not like it's gonna shoot lightning bolts or anything, but... And look at it, it's been well worn, too. Obviously, why don't we do this outside?
One thing you notice is that it is currently stained with black fiend ichor, after Mephron, the Arcanoloth, melted inside of it.
Ugh.
Yeah, you won't
I
get
hope
that washed, prestidigitated.
and dry cleaned. Here, come on, and he will pull it on, heedless of the blood, and help Metreon to his feet.
Yeah, he'll accept it and just he'll give Randy a bit of a look up and down, just sort of eyeing and judging this robe. You know that's Bergley, right?
I do.
I mean, this is the guy who wears like cargo pants under his wizard robes, right? So, as far as fashion senses go, it's just hit or miss.
If it's useful, I welcome it. But
Yeah.
you should probably get that cleaned.
Also, and I think I remembered something important about fiends. That fucker's not dead. He's back in the abyss.
Oh,
So I don't think we need to feel quite as bad.
I don't feel bad about sending them there.
Oh, no, me neither. He murdered Lillison. Yeah.
Metron looks up at Gorillison. Come on now. Yeah.
Gorillison seems to have found, 4 boulders she likes more than the others.
You can bring them with you.
She looks at the doors to the north that they haven't been through yet and makes a questioning, almost piteous noise.
Tamara.
Well, wouldn't it just be the exit, right? I mean, that's like the direction we came from, south.
Is she looking at the exit?
She's looking at the north.
Oh, the north. Oh, I thought you said. I'm sorry.
Oh, I misunderstood. Yeah. We'll get there tomorrow. Don't worry.
Do we need to get there? I mean, and Metron leans into the others, trying to be out of earshot from poor choice of words from Casimir. And I mean,
Oof.
if this is a big bad here, I mean, can't he just come back himself? You know, we cleared out a lot of this stuff anyway. I mean,
Can't who come back?
If we decide to maybe let Casimir keep exploring on his own, and we take our fight elsewhere, so to speak.
I don't know. If we've gone to all this effort, we might as well reap the benefits, you know?
Casimir nods, and
We
I
are
don't
saying
want
this
to
where he
impose,
can't hear
so-
us.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
you're
We're
right.
not.
All right.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Kiva will just look up at Earthrendir and just go,
Look, if you think there's something worthwhile here, other than what we've managed to get, luckily, with minimal casualties, and she sort of gives a pointed look up at Gorillison, I'm willing to trust you, but I also know that this place is full of evil, and I can't guarantee that we're going to make it out a second time if we decide to go in further.
Aerith returns her gaze, steady-eyed, but you notice that I know. And it's because of that, because I want to go further in. Don't want that to have been for waste. And I just want to achieve something here, you know? Not just survive.
I mean, I think we've achieved quite a lot. We managed to defeat whatever that fiend was. We got Lillison back. Just keep that in mind. Sometimes when we let our desires drive our actions, it... Just make sure there's an end here.
Aerith nods. Thank you. That's very wise. For now, let's just get outside. Come on. Yeah, Aerith will leave the temple.
A group of you together with Lillison in her polymorph
Nope.
form trundling on. Oh, staying behind?
Lillison is going to whine once more and then, deciding to give up on what everybody else thinks. She just starts climbing up towards the door.
Which door?
The door to the north, which is not the door right behind the statue, but like the door up on the wall behind that.
Top left or top
as
right?
Lil does. Oh, sorry.
As she does, Casimir's going to drop the spell.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say that Kiva could go with her and chaperone her, but never mind.
Lillison drops to the floor as a very small half-elf girl.
Can Kiva try
There's-
to catch her?
please, instead of letting her drop to the floor.
I would say so, yes. Kiva, you're close enough, and it'd be easy enough that
Okay, great.
Lilith and Kiva catches you.
Welcome back.
Fine. Tomorrow.
Kiva will carry Lillison out of the temple.
Casimir will give Lillison a very apologetic look.
Tomorrow,
Are you all
love,
making your
you'll
way?
get your smashing.
Are you all heading out of the temple then?
Very much so.
Okay. With Lillison returned to her original form, the group of you together head out of the temple, up the stairs, back toward, this time, the main corridor once again, and out to the exterior of the Amber Temple. Out here, you can hear the whistling of the wind. You can see the fluttering of the snow flurries as they make their way down around you. And not too far in the distance, you can see the outline of Casimir's stone shelter and a silhouette watching from the doorway. It gives a wave.
If it's
of your
Irina,
appearance.
Kiva
You can't
will
make it out from this distance, but you can see.
Okay. The second that she's within range of seeing Irina, she will put Lillison down and run over and go hug her.
You
Yep, not surprised by
speed
these
across
priorities.
the ground, leaving Lillison behind and the rest of the group. Irina giving you an excited wave, and as the snow crunches beneath your boots, grunting a bit as you heave her into a hug. Oh good, you all made it out okay. We were worried, we didn't know where you'd gone.
Well, a lot happened that we have to catch you all up on.
Right. Here, come in. Ismark and Davian are inside.
Band of NPCs is back.
Da-da-da-da-da.
The band's back together. The rest of you head on over, rejoining the group. Within, you do see, tending to a very low burning fire, just rubbing his hands gingerly and doing his best to warm the palms, Davian, look up and grunt at your reappearance. Ismark standing with his hand on his sword by the door and greeting you with a big grin as you re-enter. Davian coughs. Well, it's good to see your fuckers didn't all get yourselves killed. Welcome back.
Earthrendeer winces.
Kiva just looks over at Lillison with a sort of grimace.
Davian looks slightly concerned for a moment.
Lillison is sitting basically where Kiva put her down because she still has -4 to all of her stuff. And she slowly picks herself up and trails after everybody else.
Before Lillison gets into the hut, Kiva will explain to the others very briefly what happened with Lillison specifically. We still figured we can save the rest of the stories for once we're all here, but just to maybe be chill around Lillison, because she's still a little shell-shocked.
Gotcha. So I'm guessing something along the lines of, Lillison died, it's okay, we brought her back with the scroll, don't ask weird questions about it. Kind of.
Yeah, 100% that in those
Okay.
words exactly.
Gotcha. Excellent, love it. Their eyes get really wide and Ismark's jaw drops, and then they look like they're struggling to understand what's going on, and Davian, you actually see him wince a little bit and just kind of nod gruffly as the rest of the others approach.
So the good news is we're alive. The bad news is we've been blown to shit. The good news is then we walk back in there, we're not going to be blown to shit again. So that's about the situation.
Davian nods. Alright then, well, if y'all want to huddle over a bit, I suppose I could throw some more wood in the fire. Warm me all up. Remember, it's fucking freezing in there.
Please.
I'll help you get
I will
some
be
wood.
so glad to get out of the mountains.
All right, let's get you a little bit of shelter from the wind. And he begins throwing in a few more small bits of very wet wood, somehow salvaged from, you don't know how snow-drenched bits of bramble he's been able to find. But in a few minutes, you have a cheery fire, once again burning and dancing away inside the small stone enclosure.
Metreon sits down cross-legged, close to the fire. Probably a little too close for most people. Holds his hand out, but then he makes a hand crossbow rather, and sets a firebolt into it to try and amp it up.
It does burst a little bit brighter, a little bit warmer. What's everyone else doing?
Aerith will
Kiva's gonna.
look over.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nope. Okay. Earthrendir will look over at Amity. After the cure wounds, is she still looking fairly deep-fried or less so?
Yeah, on a scale from 1 to 10, she's about a 3.
Okay, until look over at her. Hey, you want a little bit of healing? That looks like it fucking hurts.
Amity winces and holds out her arm.
Alright, and Earthrendir will gingerly take it and murmur a word, and you'll heal for 6. Sorry, I don't have more. I'm tapped out after everything.
It's okay if we just have time for a nap.
Would be nice.
Okay, at some point during the nap, someone needs to explain to me why I saw Kiva flying in a parabola across the ballroom.
Kiva just looks very quickly over at Amity, and then between her and Esmeralda, and it's just don't. We don't need to. I'll tell you later.
Irina and Ismark look vaguely confused.
What's the parabola?
Amity
Walking
traces
upside
out
down
like
to
a...
you.
Oh, you got it.
Wait, what?
Think a rainbow. Big ol' arch.
Gravity's rainbow.
Kiva does give a wide smile over at Lillison before settling down next to Metreon and putting her head on his shoulder.
Lillison does not particularly return it. She has chosen a corner for herself and sat down and is kind of just staring at the floor.
While everyone's just kind of marinating for the moment, Davian clears his throat and gives a fairly awkward-sounding chuckle. Right then, so I imagine you lot haven't had the most fun time inside. I know I felt like there was something watching us the whole time, so can't really say I blame you for that.
We killed it.
Oh, I don't think you killed that one, sonny boy, but glad to hear you killed something in there.
If we didn't kill the overarching horrible presence in that temple, I mean, aside from all the dead gods trapped in amber,
well,
God, I hate this place.
So whatever you killed, was it lurking behind one of the northern doors in that lower corridor? Had the big old eye or something? Couldn't quite make out the fine details, but it was peering around right fresh, and I was not liking the look of it.
Oh, Lord Almighty. Good eye, Davian. Guess we'll be dealing with that tomorrow. So Earth just kind of puts his head in his hands. Now you'd think we'd get our fill of violence eventually, but no, this place just keeps having new and exciting horrors to offer us.
Ismark nods, but lays a hand on your shoulder. If I may be so old as to offer my own thoughts on it, I cannot even imagine the distance you've come since I first met all of you. It's almost terrifying in a way, but if there's one bit of advice that my father told me once, the enemies might change, but the way you fight and the reason you fight, it stays the same, that?
Aerith looks up at him, not seeming convinced, but genuinely grateful. Not really. It was the same for a while. Just keep all of y'all alive. Get out. Priority 1, priority 2. But when I saw Rahadin in there today, I couldn't just do that anymore. I couldn't just be here to survive. Not with that bastard walking around. And, maybe that's fine and noble, and maybe that's okay. But it still got Lillison killed, so... maybe I don't know anymore.
He winces visibly and then spares a glance over at Lillison. Vil, I'm incredibly sorry. I cannot imagine what that might have been like. I do not even... The idea of magics that could bring one back from the dead is... impressive and somewhat terrifying to me as well, but... if it helps, if Lillison is feeling up to it, the next time that we have a bit of a practice spar, unless Lillison objects, you are welcome to join us. I know that it might not be the reasons that you are familiar with, but fighting for justice and honor, those are concepts that... reasons for fighting that my family knows quite well. So if you would like to join us, the invitation is there.
There's confusion on Aerith's face now, and it twists slowly into something resembling acceptance. I knew him damn well. I'm just not used to having the power to do anything about it. Here or anywhere else. The world's full of enemies that are large and powerful and entrenched, whether they be in castles or wizards' towers, and I'd like that, I think.
You hear a
Thank
cough
you.
from beside the fire, and you see Davian looking up at you with something of a somber look, but closest to this a smile you've seen him give in a day or so. He just says, "Power's one thing, the strength you're looking for to help others, but the reasons you're fighting, the folk you're fighting for, I think that's worth considering, and if you're thinking about it, I can't say that's a bad thing, lad. It ain't no shame to fight for others, and fight for a little more than just facing the next day."
Aerith smiles a little wanly, but it does seem genuinely appreciative. And then he just kind of collapses back next to the flyer, deep in thought.
Gotcha. I would like to ask at this point, because I'm just being reminded, what has Amity done with Rahadin's body at this point? Did she bring it out with her? Did she have Muppet carry it?
Certainly at this point, if it wasn't already out when we left the Ember Temple, she would have retrieved it and brought it out.
Okay.
The cold
Would this-
the snow should be okay for, keeping the wounds shut.
Oh yes. Are you keeping it outside just to kind of flash freeze it, in the morgue freezer, so to speak, or are you bringing it inside?
Outside.
Okay.
Sorry,
so
are we
no
resting,
opportunity
we're
for
resting
your
outside,
friends.
right? Yeah.
You are inside of the stone shelter that Casimir made. Are you bringing it into the hut or out of the hut?
Sure. I mean, just bringing it with us.
Okay. In that case, I'm assuming Muppet is carrying the dead body and not you.
Okay.
Okay.
You're leading up to some horrifying trap.
The only trap here is that, at this point, Muppet walks in carrying Rahadin's headless corpse in a fireman's carry over one shoulder and the severed head clenched in a fist in the other corner, just behind Amity. And Ismark and Irene and Davian just all look at it and give the biggest what the fuck look on all of their faces simultaneously.
Oh, there he is.
Patron does too.
Oh no.
Randy, I think she's got a thing for dead dudes, so you might have some
Just don't get him too close to the fire. He'll start cooking.
Friends, this is Muppet, and that is Rahadin, ex-Rahadin.
We've been acquainted.
Right, but Ismark and Irina haven't.
Ismark just kind of swallows, looking a bit steely, Irina looking a bit pale. No, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. She just kind of like, you get the sense that she has a question on her mind, but is too polite to ask it.
If Amity gets the sense, then she will be upfront and say, are you sort of gesturing, doing the hand in a little circle gesture, you know?
Do you, I know that you're, a soothsayer by this point, a fortune teller of sorts. I've seen you do incredible things, with the dead, but are you planning on keeping that in here overnight?
I mean, would you prefer he just sort of sit right outside?
Preferably.
She looks helplessly at the rest of you.
Yeah, preferably, love. I mean, you could, if you're afraid of someone stealing Rahadin's corpse, then just bury it, you know? Dig it up when we go.
Oh, anything's fine as long as, you know, we still have it. By the way, if there's anyone who knows how to attach this head to this neck, it would be useful.
I can give it a try.
Can we please keep the body of the murder of... I cannot state this enough. Thousands of people out of the house for a while. Please?
Sure. If it makes you feel better, it is because we are going to defile it. But sure, let's keep it out.
It doesn't, honestly. Thank you. I was hoping to see the last of that man when I put a sword through his throat.
We can put a bag over his head.
Look, can we... Aerith just stands up abruptly. I need some air. And steps out.
Well, on the plus side, you know, because Kiva killed it with the sun sword, it's cauterized, so good. Is that a plus? I'm not good with anatomy. I mean, no.
I think it sounds like a plus. Yeah, that's great.
Amity.
By the way, Kiva. Oh, you beat me to it. What is it, Metron?
Oh no, it's something. I know I've known you a long time, but there's something macabre about you, and I'm trying to figure out if it was before or after you got here.
When you say here, you mean like this entire Mist Barovia zone?
Since we got here, Barovia.
After, definitely. This place has 100% changed me.
I mean, the side effects are pretty clear, but like, what is it? What's the game here? I mean, what's the takeaway?
I mean, the game is that we do whatever we can to kill Strahd, right? That was always the game.
But, you know, so we get out. Hopefully we get out, you know. I mean, you just, you know, hanging with dead people now? I mean...
I don't know. I mean, I've been wondering about that. Sort of, the spirits and ghosts here get recycled. That's what we were told. So I don't know if we get out and we're not in some place where all the spirits are trapped inside, that I'm gonna keep seeing ghosts around everywhere I go. And be able to use that magic.
So it's all utility then?
What did Metron just say?
It's all utility then?
I guess recently I've been thinking about a lot of things, just utility. Like, I was going to ask Kiva if it's weird that, you know, everyone else seems to be really mourning Lilith's death, but I didn't care that much. I thought about it as, you know, we had 4 ways to bring someone back to life and we used one of them. I don't see why other people are really mourning this. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I can
No,
only
love,
give you my
I
perspective.
I tend to agree with you. In my mind, it's not ideal, obviously. And she just sort of lowers her voice a little bit and just says, we don't really know what the long-term effects of this happening twice are, but that's something that we can think about later. I'm just happy that we have her back, and we still have a few more chances to fuck up and get it right again. So, in my mind, this was an easily solvable problem, and as long as we have the Abbot's good graces, which it seems like we're not in any danger of losing, I think we can afford to take some more risks, like getting launched across the Ember Temple.
All right. Well, that's at least consoling to hear. As for ghost powers, I guess it's not entirely utility to me. I mean, I enjoy feeling powerful and being able to talk to ghosts, and it makes me feel special, and also just knowing that when people die, you know, the ghosts are all flying around, or at least some of them, some of the time. It's comforting. So I guess other people might be disturbed by this, but I'm, if anything, comforted by it.
Since I was one of them people who was, and Metron does air quotes, mourning over Lil's death, I can only give you my perspective, but you know, it's upsetting to see someone die, in general, at least for me it is. But I wasn't upset about just her death, it was guilt. I mean, I could have helped not make that happen, and I didn't. I mean, none of us have died, so we don't know how painful or not painful it is to go through it and come back to life. Just trying to have a little empathy, you know?
Look,
Yeah.
Amity, there's nothing wrong with feeling as though this place has changed you. It has changed all of us. I try to hold on to that little bit of hope that we have a get out of jail free card, but it's also normal to feel grief or to feel nothing in the absence of a life. Sometimes people that you're very close to, they die and you feel nothing, and sometimes people that you barely knew die and it hits you. Everyone is different, and doesn't make you any worse of a person than Metreon or me or even Lilithan. We have one goal here, and it's to leave. And that's really all that matters. And we have chances to mess up and still get out of here as a group. So we can just hold on to that and do whatever creepy things you want to do with that corpse.
Believe me, if Lilithan was gone, if she was really gone, then I would be just running away from this, and you couldn't find me. I mean, for at least a few hours, I just need some alone time. The one thing is that she wasn't gone to me. What was gone was just the scroll, and the scroll is just a piece of paper. So.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I wasn't trying to rag on you. I'm just trying to understand you, alright? Like you said, this place changes people. It's made me think about things and people and what I do and what they do and all that stuff that I don't want to think about, but now I feel like I have to. It's invasive for one. But
has this place changed you, Kiva?
Oh, of course it has. I came in here and I'd pretty much given up, you know? now I have something to fight for. Someone to fight for. And she sort of looks over at Irina. And I'm determined to get out of here, not just to win, but to have a life after. And that's something I can say I didn't always want to have. So, yes, this place has made me more frightened and less trusting, but it's also made me stronger. Physically, stronger magically, emotionally. I feel like I found the thing that I was meant to do. And if it's not to be a mother, it's to help other people so that they can, or so that they can just live without fear and maybe see the sun.
That's beautiful.
I mean, I'm no bard, but I have been inspired by you, too.
You're not going to fall in love with her, too, are you?
Okay, you know what?
And he smiles.
I'll check in with Ismark. You know, he looked really happy to see you. So.
Yeah, get to him. I'm just trying to get warm now.
Kiva wraps him up in a bear hug, and also Rahadin's luxurious Louis Vuitton fur-trimmed cloak.
Hey, them specs. Where'd you get them?
Oh, the Elton John specs? I got him off of Neferon's corpse.
Who's Elton John?
He's an old singer from the Feywild.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar.
Eladrin John.
Eladrin John. With a bunch of apostrophes, because it's an elven name.
Yeah.
You know. The glasses aren't magical in any way that she gets that sense, right? They're just like fashion pieces.
They are very fashionable pieces.
Can I try them on?
Yeah, of course. If you steal them, though, I will stab you.
Wait, hold on. Are these literal rose-tinted glasses?
Yes.
They are 100% rose-tinted gold glasses.
I mean, they look great on me. I don't need the image. No, they look really good on me.
I will let you borrow them once a week for 2 minutes.
Alright, fair.
Amazing. The contract has been sealed.
Hey, someone check on Randy. Is he alright?
Kiva looks around and is just sort of like, because she doesn't want to be like, Amity, you should go, but she's also like, I don't know if I'm the best person to talk, or Metreon is, and Lillison doesn't seem to be in any state.
Yeah, Metreon notices this and decides to get up with the glasses still on. And
Kiva grabs him and tries to take them off. He's like, no. I don't want emotions on my glasses.
Make a dex check.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's do it.
This is going places.
What's it's just like a straight dex.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Metreon make a sleight of hand check contested by, I would say, Kiva's athletics.
Athletics?
10.
Okay. Oh my fucking god! It's a 5.
What are we looking at? Okay, Metreon gets away with it.
Fine, she'll just steal them off your corpse, just like she did to Neferon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Metreon saunters out. He unfurls his tail a bit and wags it in a kind of mocking way towards Kiva and Amity. But
she curses in Sylvan.
he'll head out of the shelter and look for Randy.
His footprints are pretty easy to find. You find him about 100 feet away in a little hollow on the mountain, sheltered from the snow. Just Rahadin's scimitar laid across his knees in his lap, just staring out at nothing. Hey, oh, Metreon.
Yeah, different
Hey.
devil.
True. He kind of pats the spot next to him. Here, it's out of the snow.
Yeah. Metron awkwardly takes him up on the invitation and scoots and saddles beside him.
There's a long silence for a minute or two. And then Aerith says in a voice barely above a whisper, "So they nominated you to go see what was wrong?"
No, not as much. I guess I was just de facto. I don't know.
I know the feeling.
I don't know. Listen, we just gotta scrape in with our lives out of this bloody temple with a bunch of amber penises on the front.
They do look like that, don't they?
Yeah, it's very intimidating. Very
God,
phallic too. I mean, what are these
yeah,
wizards up to?
my mentor would have written a book about that, about how the deliberate acquisition of arcane power is, in some ways, compensating for something.
Oh, yeah, I can tell there's a lot of compensation going on in there. Overcompensation, really.
Like, I guess it would be nice if I had a nice, neat bundle of feelings that could be resolved and tied together with string and kicked down the mountain, and then I'd be ready to fight again. Or strategize, or be a tactician, or a friend, or a boyfriend, or anything. But all this time, what's been keeping me going through interrupted trances and the vampire tearing my heart out of my chest, and fire and horrors, and having to become everything I've despised, between murder, has been keeping y'all alive. And I've done a pretty good job, if you say so myself. I've kept the group alive, fed, reasonably emotionally stable, given the shit we've gone through, and moving forward. And I thought that was enough. That if I kept thinking about that I could just keep everything else at the back in a nice little box, and it'd be fine. But I couldn't. Then Lillison blew up like an overbursting firework. Good job, dear.
I've seen deep fried turkeys go up like that. So very strange. The scent is still very pungent in my nose.
You never forget it. I was 43 when I first. A big knot of folks got caught in a fireball from a Thayan siege engine. There wasn't much left but the bones.
What was it, like 8 for you people? 9, 10?
Yeah, I guess. Like a little kid, preteen.
This is rough. But hey, man, listen, I feel like we're all capable in our own ways. We've been keeping each other alive, I mean, you ain't gotta feel like you're the one responsible for us. We're responsible for each other, maybe. But at least unspoken, in a way, Kiva's stabbing things with old sun sword and chopping off heads. Running, you're running too, but much faster, and like magically. Amity's getting real familiar with a bunch of corpses, and Lillison, when she's not dying, she likes to become a gorilla, made of trees. When I say all this out loud, it feels very strange.
It is. I wouldn't recognize my life from 2 weeks ago.
I guess the point was what I'm trying to say is, I don't think you need to feel responsible for it if you did what you... If you did at least your best, you know?
But I didn't! Metreon, I didn't do my best. I saw that bastard out on the floor when any sensible play would have been, alright, even if we still want to kill him, we wait until he leaves and ambush him outside. But no, I saw an opportunity to be a hero, to be somebody worth something, to finally get fucking revenge, to have something worth it. And so I ran into combat, and y'all ran after me, and Lillison burned to death. And I guarantee, I know what it feels like. Not to die, but that's going to be in every nightmare she has for a very long time. Because I decided to be selfish.
I mean, we're all a little selfish, you know.
Your selfishness ain't killed me, buddy.
It could have, though. I mean, yeah. Don't know what the future holds, and, you know, I mean, you know, if back in Death House, if I hadn't, you know, at least nutted up and shot some things and, you know, did my best to survive, you know, who knows what might happen. Could have been more deaths than just Lil.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you know, none of us are not guilty of it. You know, Amity's run off. You know, Kiva's gotten, you know, barbarian crazy and, you know, sealed herself off with a bunch of ghosts thinking she could take them all on. You know, we've
done it.
We don't know what we're doing.
But I could hold us together. Y'all could fuck up 1,000 times, and I could still be there with a healing spell and a bit of tactical advice or anything and keep us together. But I gave up. And it all fucking fell apart.
I mean, she's in there if you want to talk to her about it. You know, the one who died, came back to life.
She don't deserve that.
You know, I feel like if it's guilt you're feeling, you know, talk to her about it. But as far as trying to keep us up, you do what you could do, and you've done a fine job of it, mostly. It's also just... We're not warriors. We're not... I mean, maybe we're going to be warriors. Maybe we're going to be heroes, adventurers, whatever, but... It's not who we are. If you want to be that, that's all well and good, but don't fault yourself or any of us for not being that. You know, we're not trained. None of us have ever fought vampires or werewolves or, you know, spooky plant things. Presumably, I mean, you know, maybe Kiva and Amity have, I don't know.
No, that's wise. You're talking sense. You always do. Generally.
Well, you know, I got the best sense out of all of you, so...
you do.
I'm gonna let you mope, because, you know, sometimes it's what you gotta do.
No.
And I appreciate you letting me mope back in there.
You had... Don't. You always... Grief's not a privilege. It's just something that is. And I think I'll come back in. I don't know what I was looking for. Maybe just to... I guess the scary thing is that I fucked up and bad, and the world's not over.
Yeah.
That's I gotta think on that, I think.
Well, on the plus side, if we get out of this alive, you know, you'll have a few hundred more years to keep making more fuck-ups, and look forward to that.
He looks up suddenly earnest. and a bit shy. Do you think that... I mean, not that we'll be here 100 years, but after we're out, would you want to stay in touch? Because, I mean, after everything we've been through, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to take handfuls of Strahd's gold and buy a cart and never see any of us again.
Can I be honest with you?
It's certainly the time for it.
I don't see myself making it out. And with that, he just walks away.
Aerith. He can feel Aerith watching him as he goes into the blowing snow. And then he walks back inside.
Okay. By now the fire's warmed the interior considerably. It's a good number of degrees higher than outside, sheltered a bit from the forceful cold of the elements. The day is getting on a bit more. Is there anything else that you would like to do before turning in for a long rest?
Does Amity in fact want Lillison to sew Rahadin's head back onto his neck stump?
I mean, yes.
Okay, I guess as the sky grows darker, Lillison will go outside with any semblance of a sewing kit that she might have. I'm not sure if she actually has one, and just sort of sit in the snow and do that thing.
Okay.
Can you just like crochet his neck together? Or, like,
She
knit
does know how to crochet. She does know how to knit, but that doesn't really help.
I would say that for the sake of, if you feel like she would know how to sew, I feel like it's kind of an aristocratic thing to know how to do. So it's up to you if you think that she would know that.
I think so.
Otherwise, okay.
I mean, if for no other reason, because she is an accomplished knitter, and you do have to do things like mattress stitch for that.
Okay, then I would say that she probably has a very simple set of sewing supplies with her.
All right, she is sitting out in the snow, barely feeling the cold, as she... Oh my god, Strahd's spy is gonna come, like, expecting a letter and gonna see her, like, sitting and sewing Rahadin's head back and neck back together.
Oh my god.
This is gonna be so awkward.
What's your passive perception, by the way?
It is... 12? No, that can't be right. What is my passive perception?
It is 10 plus your wisdom mod plus your proficiency bonus, which I believe is plus 4 at this point.
Yeah, total of 14.
14, okay. Looking through the snow, you just see very faintly, not very close, perhaps around 120 or so feet away, you see a gray-furred wolf, snow speckling its hide and fur, looking at you from across the opposite side of this small mountain valley.
Lillison just looks at it and then holds her hand out towards it.
Are you beckoning it closer?
Yeah.
Okay. It will look at the shelter behind you. You're the only one outside, correct?
I think so.
Okay, then it will, assuming no one else emerges, staying very clear of the entry space, will slink over toward you.
Lillison is going to start and then quickly get up, go inside, grab her writing things, and write an extremely quick note and fold it. She doesn't have time to seal it or anything like that. Just gives like this fluttering scrap of paper to the wolf.
The wolf takes it very gingerly in its jaws and moves quickly away into the snow, vanishing into the brewing storm out of sight.
Lillison stares after it for a very long time. Her shoulders slump a little bit, and slowly she sinks back down into the blowing snow. Hunts around in the snow for a while until she finds the needle again, and then resumes her work a little more slowly than before.
Okay. And I would say that you're able to finish up your rather grisly work soon enough, suturing up, stitching up the head back onto the severed neck. Is there anything else that anyone would like to do as the day turns on, afternoon advancing as the sky overhead darkens to gray and then hints of darker blues as the wind picks up and you feel that there's very likely to be a storm tonight?
I would love to take a long rest.
Yeah, I was about to say, if we feel like this is secure, Metreon is wiped and would probably just be laying down in his new glasses.
Okay. In that case, I would say you're all more than able to take a long rest. Or at least begin it. So, as the day turns to dusk and then to night, each of you unfurling your bedrolls, stoking the fire, and assigning the watches as per usual to keep an eye out for anything that might intrude on your position. The elves among you meditating and looking inward, the rest of you, one by one, drifting into dreamful or dreamless sleep, as it may be. The sky overhead darkens, night falling over the space. As the first watcher, Kiva, the one thing you notice in the night sky is just the faint silhouette of what seems like a black winged bat fluttering very faintly in the distance, struggling through the wind, and then vanishing as the harsh wind blows and the snow covers the entrance to the shelter with gusts of great blustery wind, blinding your look out into the landscape beyond.
Kiva just sort of gives like a wry salute before the bat is completely out of her sight, and then goes back to watch.
And so you do, one by one, your watches proceeding and ending uneventfully, save for the chill of the icy cold of the storm and the gusts of wind that blow heaps of snow inside that you have to shovel out as best you can to avoid any further disruption of your night's rest. But rest well you do, and night comes to an end. The morning coming forth once more, the storm having largely ended, the wind still whistling and howling faintly through the peaks above you. But once more, the dark facade of the Amber Temple, the great golden statues of amber glaring down hollowly toward you as you awaken to another morning on the mountaintop. What would you like to do?
Is go back in an option?
Do you ask
Do you mean
this
to
to
the
us?
Amber Temple?
Well, I mean, I ask out of character and also in character as soon as Wilson arises, not bothering to pretend to be asleep this time. She just stands outside and stares at the entrance back in.
Of course we're going back in.
Wait, we're going back in?
In the night, while Metrion's asleep, is it possible to take back those glasses, by the way?
I would say rather easily, unless
Amazing.
Metron would have hidden them somewhere.
She's wearing them like a headband on top of her luxurious blue curls.
Metreon actually muled them. No, it's fine.
How long, in terms of time, I'm asking this out of character, is it until the animate dead spell elapses?
You have approximately an hour.
Oh, so
before you
if
have
I
to refresh
want
it.
Muppet back, I will need the seance for animate dead starting now.
Yeah, I would, let's say 90 minutes to give you a nice bit of buffer, given the time you might have taken the preceding day. But yes, Muppet is still very much just kind of standing there milling about, waiting for either a refresher of the spell or to be let free to do as his tender heart desires. So, are you seancing for Animate Dead?
Yeah, I guess it's the thing to do. I'm not planning on keeping him around forever, but I will seance for Animate Dead.
Okay. Just cutting through that, you greet the same spirits, are able to assemble a small group of soothsayer accompaniments, assistants, if you will, to guide you through the process, and you are able to receive from the same spirit the Animate Dead spell once again. You'll notice that as you woke up, the tattoo of sorts had faded from your skin, but as the gift is rebestowed, it appears once more across your arm.
Wonderful. I will cast it upon Muppet.
Okay.
When it gets near the end of the 24-hour period.
Yes, Muppet is reanimated. Reanimated. So to speak.
So wait, is this the thing? We're just gonna go back in there?
I mean, yes. We came here, right? And now we've removed a pretty big obstacle to going in there.
Metron rubs his temples as he tries to struggle to wake up and is agitated, as this is the first thing he's hearing when he wakes up. Alright, let's put it to a vote.
Fine. I think it's a good idea. We've come here for a reason. Find out, get Casimir his means of getting his sister back, and find out everything we can about how Strahd became a vampire. We got through it. We will continue getting through it.
Is this conversation being conducted where Casimir can hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. He nods, and you can see he's sitting cross-legged, his hands on his knees, and kneels forward a bit. But I understand whatever your decision. I appreciate all you've done. This is the furthest I've ever been able to delve into the temple, and the sacrifices, and he winces, genuinely, that you've had to make. I don't know how much more I can possibly ask, but all I could say is that if I'm able to find what I'm looking for, and uncover the secret of resurrection for my sister, if you're heading to the castle after this, I know that Katrina's body is stored in the crypts below the castle. If you would have me, and if I'm able to obtain what I'm looking for, I'd be privileged to accompany you and assist you in getting to where you're going.
And besides, you promised I could go back in today.
So
let's go.
Vote.
One more step on the... Let's go murder or be murdered by another magical whore.
How likely do you think it is that there's a spellcaster that powerful still inside the temple that we haven't met? Come on.
Casimir shrugs somewhat helplessly. I don't believe that we're guaranteed to find anything quite as deadly. At least I hope not. Given the way it was positioned, I imagine the most deadly threat would be positioned as the Guardian, as it were. Given what we've seen, what others have reported, and he nods toward Davian, I would not be surprised were we to find additional opposition there. The place seems to have a long, dark, and sordid history. But if nothing else, we seem to have discovered methods of surveying the place that keep us safe as we can. And if there's anything that I can do differently, anything that I could do to be of more assistance, please let me know, and I will do all I can to support and protect and aid those that I can.
So that's what, 3 votes, yes?
Think so.
Got one vote no.
Kiva is gonna vote no with Metreon. She really doesn't want to go back in.
Amity? Ismark? Arena? Ez?
As hold her hands up, I could not tell you what to do. This was your journey from the start. I think that there might be wisdom in the temple. There might be some things that might be of aid to us, and I would certainly not turn down an ally in the fight against the vampire. But as you said, it is certainly dangerous in there, and we do not necessarily want to push ourselves too thin. So, whichever way you decide, as long as we proceed as tactfully and reasonably and carefully as we can, I am not in opposition. And Irina and Ismark exchange glances, and Ismark says, if it is all the same to you, I think that I am confident that the day that we find ourselves pitted against the vampire, that, if nothing else, he would not strike against my sister, but whatever is in there may not have the same compunction. So, if it is all right with you, I am glad accompanying from behind. I would prefer not to lead the vanguard into the temple, but I am also not opposed to evading it entirely. Davian coughs and then laughs in this kind of dark, dry cackle. Alright, kiddos. You've got yourselves on your own little adventure. You've got a bit of a dilemma. 2 paths to walk down. Ain't nobody to tell you how to choose them.
Aerith looks up at the others, and there's something... fuck it. I guess the question we're not asking is, are we ready? If we walk up to Ravenloft today and knock on Strahd's front door, are we ready?
No.
If we are, okay.
I am. And I can't imagine what we're going to find in this temple that we won't find at his castle. Why kill ourselves here and go kill ourselves there? Why not just skip the middleman and go finish this?
Amity? Leo?
2 reasons. First, because there might still be information here about how better to approach that fight. And second, because there will be information coming from him about what we need to know when we go there. Because that's what I asked for yesterday.
Amity?
I'm not ready to go into the castle.
Do you think you will be if we keep going and find whatever we might find in here? Or get more experience, more knowledge, more magic? I don't...
Yeah, I mean... There's still all the predictions, right? And I mean, some of them are in the castle, so we're gonna have to go there eventually. But the more we can get more powerful before going there, the better.
Well, I think that's it then. The yays have it.
Sorry.
Don't say sorry yet. We're not dead. Save it for after. And then Sean begrudgingly begins to get up out of the snow and dusts himself off and picks up his sack and stands by the exit.
Yeah, Kiva shakes her head a little bit, very clearly disappointed, and follows Metreon.
I'm so tired. And Earthendeer stands and does the same.
Casimir will look askance at Lillison for a moment and offer her a hand up.
She hesitates, takes it, and gives him a pleading look. It's kind of a hungry, haggard look.
He gets a somewhat regretful look on his face, but then nods. Right. I'm sure you won't be waiting long.
She nods and gives him a tiny smile.
He nods back and turns to head in the direction of the temple. Ismark and Irina buckle on their weapons, Davian following suit behind them, and altogether the procession, begins to make their way toward the dark entry corridor into the depths of the Amber Temple. And that is where we will leave it for today.
Dun dun dun.
So,
Thank you for the intact corpse, Lillison. Nobody in this cast or in the audience understands what I want to use this for, I guarantee.
Oh God,
I do. You're
regret
totally-
my.
Where's the corpse then? Because it's not walking, right?
I have not animated it, no.
Did you just leave it in the stone thing, or?
We can leave him in the snow.
Why am I suddenly regretting my life decisions?
I mean, same.
Speaking as a mortician, we probably would have wanted to bring him inside and just not have the fire going because the snow would actually cause more damage than good. But that's just me.
I guess we'll find out.
I really wish that Lillison had your expertise in being a mortician, because I'm sure that her sewing, strategies do not map one
Oh
to
yeah,
one.
I'm imagining that it's just regular gauge thread and not at all suture thread or a suture needle, and
Yeah.
it's just held on by literal pieces of string.
Yeah, no, it's probably actually a tapestry needle and extra fine.
Oh, I
yarn.
love this. I love this. I love this.
This
Just matches
has been-
stitchiness. Yeah.
This has been
She
the
put
Twice
the-
Bitten Mortician Minute.
Oh god. She put the esophagus on the other tube and
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Just put
It's
the head
just
on
backwards.
Yeah.
It happens to every crafter sooner or later. It just does,
well, in any case, hopefully Rahadin has his face on the right way. And in the meantime, thank you to everyone for joining us today. We will see you all back in the mists in 2 weeks' time. Until then, don't forget to practice your barbarian throwing. Remember to stay fashionable. And as always, take care.